Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 1049 The Horn. Hump Day edition of Ball Don't Lie. Also, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. We'll get to that coming up just a little bit later on in the show. Before we do all of that, let's let you know exactly what's on the docket for the day. The Longhorns put a whipping on the Maggies. We'll start off talking about that. That puts everybody in a good mood. Some Texas spring football nuggets we'll throw in there as well. Also, how about the Basketball Hall of Fame? We'll get into that too. KD making his return, so we'll get some NBA news, notes, and nuggets. Also, we'll get into the latest in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes and the Lamar Jackson saga and the drama. Jim Irsay keeps it a little too real. We'll talk about that. Aaron Rodgers didn't even pick up the phone or answer the calls of the Green Bay Packers. We just found that out over the offseason. We'll get into that. Bucky Brooks' latest mock draft. Jerry Jones revealing something about the Cowboys roster construction. We'll talk about that too, and the Cowboys making a special visit with a wide receiver prospect. Before we talk about that, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for him it's a breeze. He is the Mike Hardball Hards. What's going on, brother?
Man, what is happening? It's a good day. It's hump day. That means that we're all trending in the right direction. We got Rodney Terry as the head coach. We beat the Aggies yesterday, and I know that everybody is excited because we got a special guest again today.
Talk about it.
We talked about it yesterday. We had TJ Ford. Today, Major League Baseball starts their season tomorrow, and what better way to talk about it than having our man Chipper Jones come on. Woo! Chipper Jones will be on with us today at 4:30.
Nice.
But let me talk about the man that is also a legend. I love sitting across from him every single day because he brings the energy, because he hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn, Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babers.
Appreciate the intro, as always, my man. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we do know that he's underpaid. It's Patrick Davis. That's actually his name via Twitterverse, too. What's going on, Patrick?
I'm doing good.
All right, Patrick back with us, too. You feeling better today? Feeling better
we're
yesterday?
back up to like 90% now.
Oh,
we're getting close.
Oh,
that voice sounds better, too.
Yeah, you ready to play then. You 90%, you can play.
Yeah.
You was actually playing yesterday, and you was like 70%.
All right, it was the flu game for him. You know what I'm saying? He played in the flu game.
No load management for my man Patrick
Not
Davis.
at all.
You can reach out to us via the Specs text line. That's a great way to do it. 512-337-3776. You also can reach out to us via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge. In the Twitterverse, my man Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right, we got a lot to get into. There's a lot to unpack with this Texas A&M game. The victory for the Longhorns, 5-2 over the Aggies. We're going to start there, and we'll kind of work our way, throw in some spring football nuggets that are out there as well. Got to get Harge's thoughts about this Texas baseball team. 15 in a row.
Yeah. 15.
15. And that was the most impressive of those 15 right there against the Aggies. So we'll get into that, and also we can start talking NBA. KD making his return, reportedly. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And the Basketball Hall of Fame, gentlemen, it's out. I got to get because Spurs being going into the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest Mavericks out there. I know Spurs fans got something to say about that. So, Patrick, he's our resident Spurs fan, so I want to get his thoughts about it. And Mavs fans, we don't have like any real Mavs fans on the show, but I've talked to enough Mavs fans and know enough of them. They don't necessarily like going their greatest player, Dirk, going in with D Wade.
Yeah.
That is extremely disrespectful.
Oh, yeah.
Going to some of the old school storylines. But it is a great class. It's a great Hall of Fame class, though. And, the Spurs got multiple shots. So we'll get into that and talk about it coming up a little bit later on. Next segment, actually. We'll get into that. Talk about the Basketball Hall of Fame inductees and the Texas teams getting some shout-outs there. Also, we'll get into the Arthur Blank, who gave a really interesting reason for his disinterest in Lamar Jackson. Kind of opens up a new layer in a new chapter in the conversation about Lamar Jackson. Also, Jim Irsay may have said a little too much said the quiet part out loud, I believe.
Yeah.
He might have got caught up because keeping it a little too real during those owners' meetings. So we'll get into that, too, coming up when we do NFL News, Notes, and Nuggets. And also, we got Cowboys discussion. We always do. All right, let's start off, Horace, talking about the Texas baseball team because I think now a lot of folks who were – I don't know if they were critical of the 14-game win streak. I can be critical of a 14-game win streak, but they thought the 14-game win streak was a little suspect because there weren't a lot of big-time, legitimate national contenders within that 14 games. And that's fair, by the way. That's a fair criticism of that winning streak. I'm not saying the Aggies are a powerhouse or anything like that, but to go on the road and beat your rival in Aggieland and to do it, honestly, you left some meat on that bone. We all know that. They beat them 5-2 hard. That's a huge step for a relatively young team for the most part.
Absolutely. And this is something that you and I have been talking about from the very beginning. We talked about, hey, do we need a panic button? I said, not yet. Let's just let it play out. We'll see. We'll see how this goes because I got a chance to witness some of the other teams that are across the country and how Texas would have matched up. Now, you also got to remember you had transfer in Porter Brown, who, by the way, was Big 12 Player of the Week.
Shout out.
You got a transfer in Garrett Gilmette. You got Jack O'Dowd playing second base, who hadn't played basically in 2 seasons because he didn't play at Vanderbilt, and then he transferred to the University of Texas. And you had Mitchell Daly, who's now playing shortstop, playing second base for both of those days. And nobody knew what Murph Staley was going to be last year for the University of Texas. And then you couldn't get him out of the lineup because he started wearing it out and started making a name for himself. So, and then you bring in some freshmen as well and try to jumble it all together and make yourself some jambalaya. So you had to see what was going to happen with this squad. And as the games continued to play, because what was the first thing I told you, Rod? I said, this is a very long season. Mm-hmm. This baseball is one of those things that you can catch lightning in a bottle, or you can just start looking at the toilet, just drain, drain, drain. Well, they didn't do that. They were 4-7 after the beginning of the season.
3 weeks ago.
And then they came back and won 15 straight games. Now, in between there, people would have been critical of them if they lost any of those games, right? Because you're not playing against a powerhouse. You're not playing all these other teams. What's wrong with you? Oh, my God, fire him. Get him out of here. And I kept saying, just let it play out. We're still a long way away from it, but I did say, watch when they get to Big 12 play, because I've seen a lot of the Big 12 teams, and these guys will be able to compete in the Big 12. That has been my whole thing. That has been my story, and that has been my message. And then you go and you add in, okay, well, they're about to go on the road. Well, they went to A&M. A&M was reeling. They had lost 3 straight to Tennessee, who, by the way, ranked number 12 in the nation at the time when they played them. In Texas, went down there and handled their business. So going back to your point about leaving a lot of meat on that bone, they left 15 men in scoring position. They left 15 men in scoring position.
That's the meat I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. And still won the game. And a lot of their hits were singles.
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? Like they've been scrapping for singles.
They had 1 extra base hit.
Yes.
But they had 15 hits, 1 extra base hit, correct?
Yeah, and it was the Porter Brown double. You know what I'm saying? So you start looking at how this team continues to answer the bell. Did they field the ball well? No, not at all. And that's another thing. You get comfortable of fielding ground balls on turf, and then you go play on a regular field with some dirt's involved. It's a little bit rough. They may need to go over to Downs over there off 12th Street and take some ground balls because they need to figure out what's going on.
Bounce is a little different.
Yeah, it bounces a little bit
bounce
different.
To the ounce,
yes, and get them some work on that thing because some of these other fields may be dirt fields, and you're going to have to go out there, and you don't want it to cost you late in the ball game. And that's one of the things that I continue to look at. So this team is growing up right before our very eyes. They're going out there and competing. They're extending innings. They're extending at bats, and they're still throwing strikes on the mound. Even when things look a little sketchy, they're still finishing out the games, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. And last night, I know a lot of people have been critical of Coach Pierce bringing in Lucas Gordon and Zane Morehouse last night. But let me just tell you this. In these situations, Zane Morehouse is probably going to be the back end of the bullpen at some point. I mean, they're still trying to figure this whole thing out. But Lucas Gordon last night when he went in, that's basically his side day.
Yeah.
So this is a in-between start. He didn't go out there and throw a ton of pitches. As a matter of fact, Lucas Gordon threw 15 pitches during that time. So I understand where people are like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe he threw his Friday starter. He would have threw a bullpen that day anyway.
Sound like Dickie V a little bit there.
Well, I didn't try to. Yeah. I wanted to be Coach Terry. You know what I'm saying? But I sit here and I look at it, and sometimes people just – they need to relax a little bit. Every once in a while, we all get worked up. I do it too. I came in here at the very beginning. I'm like, oh, my God, I don't know about this team. I'm looking at them, all these guys. They're bringing in all these other people. And then I got a chance to watch them play. Then I got a chance to watch other teams play. And I'm like, hey, guys, Texas isn't that bad. Texas isn't that bad.
Yep. Coach Ty Harrington said the same thing, something very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's actually they're closer to winning these games than you think.
Exactly.
They were just it was just too many mistakes that compounded over time, but they were close. And what I think the point that he made, and he was on B&E earlier this week. I forget what
I think
day.
he comes on Tuesday. I think
he
comes on yesterday.
Yeah, he did, and he always does a great job, of course. And he talked about you can tell they had the competitive spirit.
Yes.
The competitive spirit was there for that group. They just were making a lot of mental mistakes and a lot of what would be considered kind of, just mental errors as a team. But they've cleaned a lot of that up over the 14 games, and I think it's paid huge dividends for them, man. Like, obviously 15 straight games. And you talked about this yesterday. I don't know if we brought it up on air, but I think you saw it when you watched the game. And because the Aggies, I mean, you can say what you want. We talk obviously a lot of trash about the Aggies, joke about them a lot. The jokes write themselves, but they represent.
They always gonna show up.
They support their teams.
Yep.
And the students, would you say how many? Would you say how long before the game?
90 minutes before the game, they were already lined up outside, and then they got in at 4:00. The game wasn't until 6.
Yeah.
They got into the stadium, and I have a bunch of buddies whose kids go to Texas A&M. I'm still friends with them. But
don't judge them for that.
I don't. I love those kids. I love those kids. But he sent me a video, and he was like, look, these dudes are already there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, they're definitely – one thing you can always say about the Aggies, they're going to show up and support the team. Now, they may not stay the whole time, but they're going to be there at the very beginning. They're going to be there, and they're going to be loud, and especially when you're playing the Texas Longhorns. So it was great atmosphere, as always. I was texting with Kyle Peterson. We've had KP on the show with us. He was calling the game last night for SEC Network, and he said the energy in the stadium was electric. It was still exciting to be there. Yeah. You could still have everybody that's involved in it. It was a good deal. So it was exciting.
Exciting for a lot of reasons. Not only because Texas they did their thing and found a way to win on the road, in a tough environment. But there was a semi-streaker.
Yeah, he had clothes on.
He had clothes on. He had a mask on.
Yeah.
And then he also had some shorts on. Tights. I don't know exactly what they were. Yeah. So he had some clothes on. Semi-streaker. Turns out now we know who the streaker is. Shout out to my man CB. CB sent it to us on it like that. So we know who the streaker was. And it was a student athlete for the Aggies.
Yeah.
Turns out his name was Spencer Werner.
Yep.
Cross country
runner.
That's why he got caught after he got over the wall.
Oh, correct? Like as soon as he landed behind the wall, they were right there waiting on him. They were waiting to tase him. They were like, "Hey," he was like, "Don't tase me, bro."
So
don't
he did not get tased.
No, as soon as he jumped over that fence, they was waiting on him, drawn. He just stopped and laid there.
I thought his mask choice was interesting.
You like that?
I think Craig Way liked it too. So, as a matter of fact, we do have Craig Way's call of the semi-streaker for your enjoyment because Craig Way, he's the best in the business. So he always keeps it professional, but always makes it entertaining. So here's Craig Way, the voice along is courtesy of the IMG Radio Network. So shout out to them. Craig Way on the call. I believe you hear Big Red Keith Moreland on here as well. Here's Craig Way's call of the semi-streaker during the Texas A&M game.
Time called again. Oh, we've got a fan on the field. That's what it is. Jim Schlossnagle pointed it out. It is a fan wearing And he's going to go around in various stages of undress. See nobody moving to him, no security people. Now he's charging across center field. He made a big loop from first base out to third.
Well, he got no way to get out in center.
Yeah, he's heading toward the alley, right toward the 400-foot sign in deepest center field, trying to climb the wall. That's not going to work. Trying. Oh, wait, here he goes. Got a leg over. I'm also seeing some.
Here comes security now.
Yep.
Heavy-duty security.
Yeah, and they will deal with him now. He came out and he was wearing what looked like, if you're a fan of the Star Wars catalog and the Star Wars franchise, a Darth Maul mask.
It's what that's agreed.
With shorts, and then revealed some of himself to everyone, and then went running across the outfield as the pitch goes down
He
and away.
decided he wanted to go to jail tonight.
Yeah.
All right, and
He decided he wanted to go to jail tonight.
hey, someone tells I don't know. Someone said he's the streaker moon the crowd. That's not true, is it?
No, he did.
He didn't moon the crowd.
Yeah, he did.
He did?
Yeah, it's in the video.
He really did. I didn't see the video of it. He mooned the crowd. Why didn't Craig Way say that in the?
He said he revealed some of himself throughout.
Oh, Craig Way kept it.
He's so classy. You know, he's classy.
Kept it too classy. I didn't even know based on the play-by-play that he had mooned the crowd. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Texter, for giving me the lowdown there. No,
Yeah.
I didn't mean lowdown. No pun intended there. There you go. So shout out to my man Craig Way, and yes, CB sent it to us, but it was Kyle Umlang, I believe, that actually did the deep dive research, and we know nobody has more disdain for the Aggies, and puts it in a more eloquent, articulate fashion than my man Kyle Umlang.
Hey, he wrote a book.
He wrote a damn book about
And
it.
I have it.
And
I have the book.
I believe it sold a lot of copies.
It did.
People love that damn book. It's a great coffee table book. Shout out to my man Kramer from Seinfeld.
That's right.
Great coffee table book for all Longhorn fans out there. They should have that
100%.
one. Okay. Oh, but by the way, anytime we get an excuse to play this, I have to do it. It's part of it. I've always admired Craig Way's, his play-by-play eloquence. I mean, he's just a play-by-play genius. And when he's thrown into a situation where he's got to improvise, it's even more glaring. Like I said, he made that clip PG-13 where the dude moving the crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't even know it. You still were entertained by it. He's just a genius like that. Probably one of the greatest examples of this was, I believe, after one of the high school football championships and the runaway golf cart. Nobody was seriously hurt, but there were people at the time that were, hurting at the time, but they weren't seriously hurt by this. But there was a runaway golf cart. I believe one of the pylons got stuck potentially on the gas, and like somebody threw it or something, tried to throw it into the golf course, and they got somebody else, and then I believe that's the reason that it went, haywire. But Craig Way had to call this action. Most people have not heard this before, but it is brilliant. It is Craig Way. He was just doing the post game like he normally does, and then all hell broke loose. But listen to the brilliance of 1C Way.
We've had a disturbance down on the field where during the celebration, apparently one of the carts on the field apparently got loose, and there have been some folks, I think, injured in this, and you'll see.
Oh, my.
And that's like a runaway cart there, and it finally took someone to stop it. And folks injured there, and you hope it's not serious, but that's a scary thing there with that cart racing through and knocking some folks down, and again, some people down on the field, and representatives of the UIL staff, I think, okay, but well, that's a scary thing to have happen there, as that cart just got loose.
It's brilliant. Like, he didn't turn off the play-by-play.
No.
He and then expressed the concern.
He was breaking it.
Expressed the concern, and also expressed, the care with the play-by-play.
Yes.
And Just brilliant.
He
Nobody
is
was
smooth.
seriously hurt. He's just so smooth with it. Somebody says, Irving LFC fan says, bring back the unnecessary censorship of Craig Way. We could bring it back. We probably could do it with that clip from him doing the play-by-play of the semi-streaker. We could. I mean,
Did you know that he fell over during the Elite Eight?
who?
Craig.
He fell over?
Apparently his seat, he fell the back off the seat and continued to call action
Whoa!
as he fell backwards.
Yeah, when the dude from Miami ran into the scorers table,
Yeah.
it was Craig, Ced Golden, Bob Ballou. They were all in the same area, and Craig just kept talking he was laying on his
I don't
back.
have audio of this.
I was going to say, we
need to find audio.
we need to
Craig did
find
not
out the
tell me at what
moment.
point it was. And then,
Okay. I had to text Craig and find out what moment.
but I know
he-
I know everyone was asking him how he was doing when we were at the press conference yesterday.
Oh, man.
But
And
professionalism, you apparently couldn't tell very much because he kept going.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, there's no, I mean, I would have heard about it by now. Somebody would have said, oh,
Yeah.
man, did you hear the call of Craig Way
Yeah.
when he ended up, getting run over or falling on his chair? No, it's unbelievable how this guy can just stay with the crystallized focus.
Dialed in.
No matter what is going on around, just chaos happening around him.
Yeah, dialed in.
Okay, we got to I'll text Craig and I'll ask him, all right, hey, man, I need to know at what point during the game during play did you
I'm sure he's
when you
listening.
fell. And then we got to go try to find. Do we have access to the game?
I mean, I have access to everything.
Okay.
Oh, that's our guy right there.
Okay, and then we'll have to try to find. He'll let us know the portion of the game. Then we'll try to find if we can identify through the audio when he. Maybe we'll test the crowd and see if they can try to figure out which clip.
Yeah.
When Craig Way actually falls out of his chair or whatever. That might be a little game we play. And then yes. Patrick, we have had a request to bring back the unnecessary censorship of Craig Way. What y'all must know is I am not the genius behind the unnecessary censorship of Craig Way. I stole the idea from Jimmy Kimmel and then started using it on air, but it is the producer that is the genius behind it. I'm the Steve Jobs that just brags about how brilliant my idea was, but I'm not the programmer that actually does it. Patrick's the one that's got to do it. So it really, you got to ask Patrick.
It just takes a little bit of time to go through.
I don't do anything but talk about it.
It takes to listen through probably, I don't know, 100, 150 highlights to try and find stuff and then cut them down to amount. And then,
Totally agree. That's what
It
I'm
just
saying.
takes a little bit of time that I don't always have.
Somebody said
Yeah.
it sounded like Aunt Bunny falling down the stairs. Lord Jesus, oh Lord, Aunt Bunny.
No, really, I got to find. I didn't even know that. Since we're talking about Craig Way, you know what? We got to do it since we're talking about Craig Way. So I heard Craig Way on today with Light the Tower. And we were just talking
10 to 12 right here on 104.9 The Horn.
shout out. And we were just talking about yesterday, you found the little nugget, little factoid about Coach Collier.
Yep.
Zay's dad, Coach Collier, who was the longtime coach, decades-long coach there at Bowie High School, gave Rodney Terry actually one of his first jobs when he hired Rodney Terry, that he had been in a movie.
Yep.
And what was the name of the movie?
The Quiet.
The Quiet,
The
right?
Quiet,
I still
yeah.
got to watch that. I got to put
Yeah.
that on my movies. I got to put that up there. I'm going to watch The Quiet, try to find Zay's pops in there, Coach Collier in there somewhere. And you can go look at my man Harge. He's in The Rookie.
There it is.
He
is.
got a couple of cameos
I
there in
do.
The
Got a
Rookie.
couple of them
You
in
go
there.
check that out, all right?
That's right.
Well, come to find out now, we got to give another shout out to Craig Way, who also had a brief acting career and revealed that today on Light the Tower.
I did hear him say
I'm
that.
like, hold up. I worked with Craig for damn near a decade and knowing this man forever and an admirer, but also a friend, and just found out this dude's been in a movie. Okay.
He said he doesn't have an IMB page yet.
No speaking part
No
in
speaking
it. He's
part.
just an extra.
Didn't have his SAG card, as I was talking about yesterday.
Yes.
He didn't have it, he said.
But also, ironically, they're both like movies about cults.
Oh,
Which is-
man.
I don't know how he said basically back then when he was being asked to do this stuff, everybody was obsessed with cults. And then, I mean, this is actually after Jonestown, that kind of stuff. So it was like the country was obsessed with cults. So it's not that crazy. So we're making movies. The art was reflecting, the time. And so the movie is Split Image. I believe I'm right about this. If I'm wrong, Craig Well, hit me up and let me know. He said Split Image. It's a American drama film directed by Ted Kotcheff, starring Michael O'Keefe, Karen Allen, Peter Fonda, James Woods, Brian Dennehy, And it tells the story of an all-American college athlete who becomes involved in a youth-oriented cult, and his family struggle to bring him home. And I believe Craig Way says he's like it's early on, like in one of the opening scenes. If I'm not mistaken. It's in the 11 o'clock hour. Go check it out. They were getting into this, and I was like, what the? That's crazy. Or maybe it's not. Yeah, I think it was the 11 o'clock hour, if I'm not mistaken. I listened to the whole thing, but I listened to the horn all day, so you guys all run together a little bit with me.
Right.
And then he was in another movie, he said. So I guess Craig Way got the acting bug. All right. In Heavenly Deception was the name of the movie, and he said it was so bad. Not bad, but it was not made for big screen. It was kind of one of those movies that was
Straight to video.
yeah, I guess if you want to call it that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he called it an industrial film or whatever the hell that means. I'm not sure.
Straight to video.
But I do know that Jurassic Monty
Oh yeah.
said who's been in the film industry. I mean, he's
For a very long
been a
time.
screenwriter.
That's what he does.
Yeah, he's a film guy. He says he was gonna find these particular films and watch them. So, hey Monty, I wanna, if you get a copy of these damn movies that Craig's in and get screenshots, he says he's gonna send screenshots of them. I want to know. I want to know. I want a review. He can
Yeah.
give a review. Or
Was it a Blackbuster review?
yeah, I don't know if he can give the Blackbuster review, but I want a review of him, and I would like to watch him too if Jurassic Monty can find him. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So there you go, Craig Way had to reveal that. We didn't know Coach Collier was
Right.
in feature films. We just found out Harge was in The Rookie like a couple of months ago,
Yeah.
and now we learned that Craig Way
Love it.
also got the acting
Hey,
bug
you're
for a
around
while.
stars, and let's just bring it all out because, hey, yo, I didn't realize that you was almost The Bachelor. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait, you said that to me. I'm like, hold up, what you say?
I wasn't almost a bachelor. I was almost one of the men on The Bachelorette. Because I went to interview.
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I went to interview for The Bachelor. That's what I went to interview for. And then basically, I was like, I want to be the first black bachelor. I want to make some history here. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's great. And I was like, I interviewed for like 45 minutes. There was like a video of this and everything. I have no idea what the hell it is. And it was a bit for the show, actually. And she said, you're probably not going to be the bachelor. And I was like, that sucks. She's like, but we'd love you to be one of the guys on The Bachelorette. And I was like, all right. I was like, I ain't got nothing going on. I just got done playing ball. I just started doing radio. I was like, you know what, I'll do it. I think I asked like John Madani and them. They were like, oh, cool. It'd be a great bit. We don't know how long you got to be gone. We were working it out. I was like, yeah, cool. Nice. Get all that done. Because it was actually a bit for the, I think we had who was it that went with me? Garrett. Garrett, Redhead Garrett.
Yeah.
He went with me, so I had a witness to this and everything. And it was at the old, what are you, bowling? It's off of South Lamar. You know it. It's
I know exactly.
Oh, like the highball?
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly where it was. They did it there. And then I went there and she was like, no, you're not going to be the bachelor. And I was like, all right, but if I can be one of the guys on the Bachelorette, that's cool with me. I was dating a young lady who I'm now married to. And I asked her, we had just started dating. And I said, hey, I'm gonna go do the Bachelorette. And I told her at the time, dude, I said, listen, and I win, I'm gonna pick you. I'm gonna win the whole damn thing. Get down to the wire. All right? Get to the finals. Me, some other dude. And I'm gonna be like, you know what, man, what I realized through this process and have my own thing.
Yeah, you already knew what you was gonna
what I
say.
mean? And I was basically propose to her on with the nation watching.
Yeah.
And then have my own reality TV kind of.
Oh yeah, you was gonna launch your career.
I'm gonna set it off.
Yeah.
Set it off.
Yeah.
And then we gonna have our own little reality TV.
I'm in on
So,
this.
you know what I'm saying?
I'm in.
It was a little spin-off idea. It was gonna be brilliant.
I bought in.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I told her, she was like, if you do that, I'll break up with you. And I was like, what the hell? I'm telling you.
Baby, I'm telling you.
you, go read you went on the plan.
This is for work.
This is for work.
Yes.
No, it really was. Your bro was gonna win it.
Yes.
I know how to work reality TV. It ain't that hard. You just gotta be the most interesting person on the damn show.
And you would definitely have
Look,
fit
let it
that
on there,
bill.
acted a damn fool
Yes.
for a while, and they'd be like, man, this dude's so entertaining. We gotta keep him on the show. And then at the end, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want this. I've realized what I really want. And as a woman, I left her to be on this damn show, and I realized that was a mistake. And I'd have been through this whole thing, heart wrenching.
Oh man, you would have had America bought in.
And then propose right there on the show tour. And I told her, I'll propose to you right there on national TV. And then the world would have to wait for the
Yes.
reunion and everything to figure out what happened. Your boy had it all planned out. She was like, nah.
The best part is you said the world would have had to wait, for the reunion
The Bachelor was like
episode.
really popular back then. I know it's popular now. Back then it was like really popular.
Yeah, it was brand
So
new.
your
It
boy
was part of the thing.
Your boy was gonna take it over then, and then, like I said, at the time, we had just started dating, so I was like, you know what? But I really liked her.
Right.
Obviously.
Obviously.
So your boy said, all right, I'm done. They contacted your boy about it, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I was I had my mind made up.
Trust me, I see it. I would have watched it.
And it was the same
because I
advice.
don't even watch it at all.
And straight up, it was the same advice that I gave because straight up, I got a connection to The Bachelor. Jesse Palmer,
Yeah.
who was one of the first
one of your
Bachelors.
teammates.
It's one of my teammates in New York.
Yes.
You know who they asked also to do The Bachelor? Chris Sims.
Well, I mean, you got
And
Matt Nordstrom being
Yeah,
the most eligible
yeah.
bachelor in Dallas.
And Sims turned it down mostly because he was like, they'll never take you seriously as an NFL quarterback
Right.
if you have a reality TV show like that.
And
he had
Jesse didn't care.
He married his high school sweetheart. Anyway,
Yeah, and
Danielle.
Jesse didn't care.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not going to be on
Jesse
NFL
didn't give a
quarterback,
damn.
and I
Yeah,
look good. I want to be on TV.
Exactly. And he
Here
ended
I
up
go.
working. He's on TV.
He played like
He's
you was about to play it.
He's on TV. That's what
No, I'm saying you was going to play it the right way.
It worked out perfectly. Your boy
I'm in.
wouldn't. I wouldn't
I'm
even be
in.
here today. I'd be on TV somewhere. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be working. I'd probably made enough cash.
yeah, you'd have been
off the same
chilling.
career and been chilling.
You'd have been like Rachel Lindsay.
Yeah.
You would have been hosting a talk show because she was the bachelorette and she was
Exactly.
from Texas.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, UT was there working in the organization at UT when Kevin Durant was a basketball
That's right.
player here.
You're right about that.
We talked about it. I
Yep.
interviewed her at the Sugar Bowl. I mean, at the national championship
Exactly.
game. I interviewed her. She was like, "Yeah, I used to work at UT." That's how she knew Chip.
Come on now.
Yeah.
And now she's in the entertainment
Now
industry.
she's entertainment.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Easy money. I don't know. Like I said, wifey didn't go for it, so we here.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
I come to work every day from 3 to 7, making sure that you, the fans, enjoy your time on the road.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I told Sims to do the same thing, and Sims was like, "Nah, I'm not going on the show." I was like, "Dude, go in there and just propose to go win the damn thing because they want you to win because you got a big name. They want you to make to the finals anyway. They'll usher you through the finals, and then on the finals, just propose to your high school girlfriend or fiance, and then everybody will be like, he's awesome, he's amazing, this is great." And he didn't do it. My
Dog.
plans have been shattered.
Dog, y'all would have definitely needed some Blue Chew during that time.
Someone said, yeah, you'd be like Nick Cannon. Chance says I'd be like Nick Cannon. If I had that Blue Chew, I would have been back there. I'd be like Nick Cannon. That's for sure.
I love it.
All right.
That's
That's enough
outstanding, man.
random discussion.
No, I love it. I love it.
Let's get to the Basketball Hall of Fame and talk about KD's return right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at MyBookie. We all know that tis the season. It was that basketball bracket season, but now we are down to just the finals of the championship round of the NCAA tournament. So you know the best way to get the most bang for your buck is to head on over to MyBookie right now and place all your bets at MyBookie. That's where I place all my bets, and trust me, it's where you get the most bang for your buck. And right now, it's the perfect time to do it. With so many brands to choose from, you need a platform that makes it simple to bet and easy to use and easy to win like MyBookie. Whether you're filling out multiple brackets, betting on the eventual national championship winner, or simply looking for player and game props, MyBookie has got you covered. Getting started with MyBookie is simple. Visit the website online, make your first deposit, and use the promo code HORN, HORN, to claim an exclusive deposit bonus. That's the promo code HORN, HORN, to claim some extra money on top of your initial deposit. With hundreds of thousands of prizes for Madness of March and weekly blackjack tournaments, you can turn your game day into a payday with MyBookie. Bet anything, bet anytime, and bet anywhere. As long as you're betting with MyBookie, you're betting with the best. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. My man Patrick plays jams from a particular soundtrack, and based on those selections, Harj and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. Oh, man. Is it this got anything? This is bringing up anything for you, Harj? Wow.
Not yet. But I tell you what, this would have been good for Smooth Swole Monday.
Yeah.
You know
I know.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're right. It would have been good.
Ain't this Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Great job, Harj. Great job there. Yeah, I got nothing right now. All right. Well, we had to kill the Specs text line temporarily until we at least got to give it a puncher's chance here
Yeah.
to try to see if we can get it. Yeah.
What's
All
the
right.
name of this song?
Can't Hide Love.
Ooh. Is it about Rob being on The Bachelor?
Hey, I found love.
That's what I'm saying.
I found love.
Yeah.
I want the world to know. I said this would be the greatest marriage proposal in the
Ever.
history of reality TV.
Ever.
Woman, what are you talking about? They be talking about this for decades. I'm gonna win the whole damn
decades.
thing, and I'll go dedicate it to you. What do you mean? This is gonna be amazing.
Oh man, they would have
gonna
been
be
loving you on the
gonna be
weekends when you come back for UT football
Right?
games.
Come on, man. That's the Taj Mahal of reality TV moments I'm talking about here. And she declined it.
Oh
Can
yeah.
you believe it?
Yeah, I do. I do understand what she's talking about. I really understand it.
I just don't understand. I thought I had pitched it. I thought I sold it on. I did not. All right, Specs X line is
Hey,
live.
you were a great pitch man.
Oh.
She just wasn't swinging and
She
missing.
wasn't.
No.
You know what? But now she says, you know what? Now actually, what didn't? I think she just didn't trust me back then.
Hello, it was new.
It was new. I was like, nah, you could have trusted your boy. I'm a man of my word.
Yes,
All right?
she was not feeling that,
I'm
bro.
a one-woman man for the most part. Well, now I am for sure. For my whole life. My whole life, you know what I mean? For the most part, it's like 85, 90%. What do you mean?
That is great. That is great.
For the most part, like,
Oh, my God.
Bill Clinton said that once.
Oh, my
All right,
gosh.
let's get to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Adrian Wojnarowski, he reported this. ESPN sources said that Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Paul Gasol, Tony Parker, Becky Hammond, and Greg Popovich, are among the finalists who've been elected into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2023. Formal announcement will come at the Final Four in H-Town this weekend. How about that? Hey.
I love it.
Patrick, I know you got me excited. How about, man, it's the Spurs love on here, man.
A lot of Spurs
Tony
love.
Parker, Popovich, then Becky
And Becky
I was
Hammond.
say Becky Hammond, most people associate her NBA.
But she
years.
played for the San Antonio. She played for the Silver Stars.
That's right.
Shooting
Great
Stars.
point.
Or
There you go.
Silver Stars.
All San Antonio love then.
Got a side story for you on Becky Hammond. My wife, Lindsay, former professional soccer player, played
Shout out.
in Colorado. Her and her roommates actually rented out Becky Hammond's house in Colorado. So she lived in Becky Hammond's house.
Hold up.
Because Becky went to
While
Colorado
she-
State. Becky went to Colorado State. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And that's actually where I met her.
You met your wife at Becky Hammond's house?
Yes.
That is
You know what I'm
fantastic.
saying?
That is great.
Shout out.
Now I have even more questions, but I don't know if we have enough time.
No,
I
we
love
don't.
that.
We don't. We don't.
That is a random connection.
Yeah, that's
to
what I'm
Becky
saying.
Hammond.
Yeah, like Becky Hammond.
That is really cool.
Becky with the good hair.
You
know what I'm saying?
All right, I don't know if that. Yeah, I don't want to get
Becky
there.
with
That's,
the-
yeah,
yeah.
you know how that goes. But yeah, so Tony Parker, Becky Hammond, and Greg Popovich going in as finalists for representing the Spurs. Dirk Nowitzki representing the Dallas Mavs. So the Mavs get some love there. Apparently, Mavs fans are upset going in that Dirk Nowitzki's going in with Dwayne Wade.
It doesn't matter. You better be glad he's just going
Wait,
in.
for the record, it's the NBA Hall of Fame, first of all. So
Yes.
it's the easiest Hall of Fame to get into. They're both first ballot Hall of Famers. You could have Ted when they both retired the same year. They're going into the Hall of Fame the same year.
Together.
Like,
they're not like
there's
the-
never been a doubt. They are first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
there's
that-
not like
that's-
Major League Baseball where they'll hold a grudge against you for a while
Yeah.
because you didn't talk to him. Make you, he doesn't deserve to go in on the first ballot. Yeah, he does.
No, like that was when Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Kobe Bryant all retired the same year. You're like, man, that's going to be a great Hall of Fame class.
Right.
You could say that when they all retired because we know as soon as their eligibility comes up. The only one that's crazy is Popovich has just never allowed his name to be in it.
What do you
So
mean
can
by
I-
that?
Yeah, how can you do that?
Yeah, I'm like, how do
Well,
you?
because you just say, I don't want to be. Like,
Well, because
coaches can
he-
kind of step off of it, I think, a little bit more because they're still active.
Yeah, you haven't retired yet.
Yeah, so you can
officially.
say, look, I'm still active. I don't really want to do that yet. And then he finally said, "Okay, I'll put my name in the voting." And they're like, "Well, yeah, of course you're in.
Yeah.
You're one of the
what are
greatest
we
coaches
waiting
of all
about?
time."
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is one of the greatest Hall of Fame classes ever.
Well, let me just explain something to you. And my man Patrick's got the audio of this. Everybody is excited about the Hall of Fame class, especially when it comes to D. Wade. But one Paul Pierce at one point
Hater.
thought he had better stats than obviously D. Wade. But our man Jalen Rose had something to say about that.
No, it's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. No, don't backtrack. Don't backtrack. He's made all NBA first team twice. Paul hasn't done it. He made all NBA 8 times to your 4. He's made all defensive team 3 times to your 0.
Ooh, 0. That's rough.
He's won 1 scoring title. You weren't able to win the scoring title.
That's too bad.
He has 3 rings. You have 1 ring.
Ooh, 3 is bigger than 1. What are we doing?
He's just the hype man over there, huh? Just the hype man.
I love Michelle Beadle in the
Yeah.
back hyping it up like, oh, those
0.
numbers to you sound a little bit different, don't they?
When did Paul Pierce express this opinion?
This was 2019.
Yeah, Paul Pierce has
Okay.
a reputation for saying that he is one of the greatest players of all time. Like, Paul Pierce in his own head is a top 5 all-time NBA player.
Yes.
Like, he has said many times that him and Kobe were really, really close.
No.
Yes.
So-
Yes. No,
What?
Paul Pierce believes that he is one of the greatest basketball players who's ever played the game of basketball.
That is
I'm
delusion.
just, and I know, but that is what Paul Pierce believes. And so that's why Jalen Rose and stuff will get on, because Jalen Rose is like, look, I know I was really good, but I get those guys were at another level than me. And Paul Pierce is like, no. I was like, dude, no, you weren't. You were really good,
Yeah.
but you were not.
You're not there.
You were not immediate, like.
It's like me saying DBU, like me and Jerry Gray were like on the same level. Like me, Jerry Gray, and Huff Daddy. Right. I mean, might be on that Mount Rushmore. Like, no, Robbie, you
Robbie,
way,
you're on the Rushmore.
no,
I'm not.
You way
no.
down there, man. You
Yeah.
like in the valley. And then I can see the Rushmore from where I am.
Right. like Paul Pierce is, remember making the band with P. Diddy?
Yeah.
And then Dave Chappelle asked him, who are your favorite rappers? And he said, Dylan, Dylan, and Dylan. That's what Paul Pierce thinks of himself.
It's true.
That's a great reference. Oh man, that is classic.
That's where Paul Pierce thinks he is. And that is why when I look at this class and you look at who the players are, Dirk Nowitzki has a statue. Dirk Nowitzki has a statue outside of the American Airlines Arena.
Yeah, they should give him one in Miami, but they can't even keep a name on that building.
Exactly.
So I don't know if they're going to get him a statue, but he deserves one. I mean,
They call it Wade County.
Hey,
I'll tell you
come on
this.
now.
One of the craziest things is to remember Dwayne Wade should have been a Piston.
Right.
He should have been. And if not, Chris Bosh should have been a Piston. But they took Darko Milicic second in that draft
Exactly.
ahead of Dwayne Wade.
Wow.
Think about that.
Like, that's crazy.
I forget
Yeah.
about that. I didn't think
LeBron, and then Darko, and then Dwayne Wade out of Marquette,
And then Chris Bosh.
and then Chris Bosh.
And then Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah. Think
Or
about
no,
that.
Carmelo Anthony was third.
He
Dwayne
was
Wade
third.
was fifth. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then
That was a really good draft class.
that was a great draft class.
And somehow the Pistons completely whiffed.
Big time. Oh, shocker. Shocker.
Hey, the Pistons like to win.
I know they
different
won the NBA title that year before.
I was gonna say that,
and then
yeah.
whiffed on the draft because they had it from a trade. So they could have just kept the dynasty alive instead.
they had just drafted-
but they didn't want to draft a guy that they had to play immediately. So
Yeah.
they were like, "We'll get this prospect, and then we'll be good in a few years," as opposed to just
drafting
taking
any of the other
the
four
three
players.
guys.
Exactly.
The next 3 picks are all Hall of Famers: Chris
Yes.
Bosh, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwayne Wade.
You could argue if they drafted any of those players,
Exactly.
they would have
Much
had
better.
another title run, at least one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
No
hurts
doubt.
right there. Yeah. Oh, man. I didn't realize it. Nice little nugget there. All right, so that's the Basketball Hall of Fame. Also, NBA news, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, too. We'll talk some more NBA. KD making his return reportedly tonight. So we'll talk about that,
Oh,
too.
and other good NBA news:
Get-
the Hornets are still winning games, so I think the Spurs are getting pretty close to being okay here. We got like a 5.5 game lead in the Tankathon, so we're in
Hold
that
up, you guys
bottom
are-
3.
You guys are beating out the Rockets in the Tankathon?
No, but that doesn't matter. Bottom 3 all have the same
Oh,
odds.
same odds,
So
yeah.
bottom 3, as long as you're in that bottom 3, but the Hornets were getting a little close there
Of knocking you guys out.
to knocking us down to 4,
okay.
which is no good.
Yeah.
But the Hornets started to win a few games there at the end of the season, so we would basically have to win, I think, 6 or 7 out of the last 7,
So
and then we have to lose out.
You have the Mavs to thank for that.
Did they start to tank too?
Well, because then they lose to the Hornets.
They did, and then the Hornets also beat OKC, I think.
Yeah.
And they beaten a few
Hey,
teams.
the Mavs lost them twice, like back to back.
Yeah.
So I think the Mavs might have did that on purpose, actually.
Yep.
The Mavs do not. They as an organization, they do hate the Spurs that much. We know that. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie. We're 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis here. Let me tell you about my favorite tequila. It's Hot Cat Tequila. You know it's my go-to tequila. The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe is just as simple and brilliant. Just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light and so smooth. Sometimes it's a little too smooth. It's a tequila lover's dream, and if you're not a fan of tequila, Hot Cat Tequila will make you a fan of tequila. It'll turn any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. And once you try Hot Cat, you'll never go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you were ordering rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. But you can get the party started and turn up your party with Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for all the big games, concerts, festivals, or any night on the town with family and friends. It's better served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks. So visit cattequila.com. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. This is easily one of my favorite karaoke songs. When I do karaoke, it's one of my top jams for karaoke.
This version or the Limp Bizkit version?
No, this version. I don't even know that. That's a Limp Bizkit
There
version?
is a Limp Bizkit version of this song.
Oh,
Faith?
why?
Yep.
Why?
Why?
Man, because if you didn't hate Limp Bizkit enough, they did this.
Exactly. Seriously. But this is a jam right here. All right, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. When Patrick takes songs from a soundtrack, plays those selections for us, and based on these selections, we are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. And I got to tell you, I love the song, but I got nothing.
I'm way away from this, bro.
All right, I'm gonna give y'all.
I think it's a comedy.
I'm gonna give y'all a hint going into to think about this going to the next song. This might be the newest movie we have done, most recent movie we've ever done.
Oh wow, that's good. That actually does help.
The most
I know
newest,
the most recent. This
movie?
may be. I can't say for sure because I don't remember every movie we've done, but this may be the most recent.
Okay.
All right, that's good. Usually the top of the four is like the softball for us.
Yeah.
That's the easy one for us, and hopefully we'll see. We'll see if that one is a gimme. If
This ain't
not,
Footloose again, so right?
no, that's not recent. I just can't think of what it could be, but I like the songs though so far. All right, I got comedy in my head for some reason. I think it's a comedy. Now I'm gonna get like focused on that, and I know that's probably the wrong thing to do. All right, go to flxatx.com, flxatx on all your social media platforms. My man Harge was actually at a baseball game yesterday.
No doubt.
Doing a little scouting.
I did. I went over to Westlake High School. Westlake was taking on Anderson. The Trojans were playing there, and Westlake won 9-0. When I ended up leaving the game, obviously, you know your boy wasn't going to stay there forever, but I did go over there and check it out. Got a chance to watch the small wide receiver. Remember the wide receiver at Small?
Oh, he's a beast of an athlete.
Yeah, he plays center field for Anderson. I got a chance to watch him play a little bit. Got a chance to watch my boy Aiden Bennett play shortstop. And just to clarify, everybody thought that Aiden had signed with Howard University when it was Howard JC. We just wanted to make sure that we got that figured out. Because I heard the going back and forth between Chad and Zay.
I think Chad just said Howard, and I was like, Howard?
Yeah.
And Zay was
he
like,
does
Howard?
have flavor, but not that much flavor.
From Westlake?
Yeah. He did well.
That's good.
Theo Ginn, who is somebody that is going to move up draft boards pretty quickly. He's that guy.
Really?
You know, he is him, as the youngsters like to say. He is that guy. Got some speed, got some sock in the bat, played well. So it's been really, really it was really fun to go over there and watch this team play. Speaking of Westlake, they are now ranked number 16 in the country.
In the
I
country?
believe by Max Preps.
What?
They are 21-1. And they are riding a 16-game win streak. Sounds familiar, kind of like the Longhorns at 15-game win streak.
I can't believe is their baseball team always that good?
They're solid. They're always solid. But these guys are getting older. They've got commits to different universities. It's a solid baseball team.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
No question.
Good to see them play last night.
All right. Glad my man Harge is getting out there, getting some eyes on some of these prospects, some of these players.
And you never know where I'll pop up again, so be prepared. Your boy White be in the stands, another one.
Hey, he do know every damn about it. I tell y'all that all the time. That's for sure. Yep. All right, go to flxatx.com, flxatx on all of your social media platforms. All right, we come back. We'll get into a little NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Apparently, Arthur Blank gave a reason for his disinterest in Lamar Jackson. Jim Irsay might have said a little too much, and Aaron Rodgers apparently cannot return the call of the Green Bay Packers.
Come on, Aaron.
Yeah, we'll talk about that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about Dr. Greg Eckert and his fantastic team because they can help you out with anything that you have concerns about your dental health or hygiene. Doesn't matter exactly what it is, or before you have any concerns about your dental health or dental hygiene, you need to reach out to Dr. Greg Eckert because they can specialize in easing your dental anxiety. We know a lot of people out there, including myself, have dental anxiety. Well, they can put you at ease about that. Also, general dentistry, teeth whitening, dentures, porcelain crowns, veneers, dental implants, full mouth reconstruction, even root canal therapy, whatever it takes to ensure you're getting the best quality dental care available. That's what Dr. Greg Eckert and his team are all about. And what I love about Dr. Greg Eckert, he's always on the cutting edge of the technological advances in general dentistry. As a matter of fact, my first time I went over there, I saw a woman coming out of the room. She had tears in her eyes, and I thought to myself, see, this is why I don't come to the dentist. Well, I was wrong. It was not tears of pain, tears of sadness. They were actually tears of joy. Yeah, she was actually brought to tears because she had seen her smile, and it was the greatest thing she had ever seen. It was the smile that she had always wanted, and she had never seen her teeth look so beautiful, so it brought her to tears, and by the end of her testimony, we were all brought to tears. He can do the same for you. He can give you a brand new smile in just one day, permanently secured to your dental implants. No time spent without teeth. You get temporary fixtures and complete your permanent smile, and you'll smile again with confidence and eat freely without pain or discomfort. We're talking about a lifelike permanent solution. So if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, call Dr. Greg Eckert today and learn about this revolutionary alternative to dentures. We're talking about a brand new smile in just one day. Give them a call. It's a complimentary consultation. You got nothing to lose but everything to gain. 512-345-3166. That's 512-345-3166. Or visit dreckert.com, DRUECKERT.com. All right. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. My man Patrick takes songs from a soundtrack, plays those songs for us, and based on these selections, we are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. It's definitely a comedy.
Not really.
Really?
Not really, no.
I definitely don't have
It is a nostalgia-based movie, though.
I got nothing.
Came out 5 years ago.
All right, what is it?
Yeah, give it to us. I got nothing.
Ready Player One.
I would have never
The
got
movie
Oh,
came out
the video game movie.
The video game movie
I never would've
came
got
out.
it.
Yes.
That
Never.
is basically an amazing soundtrack because it was completely nostalgia-based
Yeah,
movie.
and then in basically the Radio One, it's an amalgamation of a lot of different games, old school
Yes.
games. They end
Old
up in
school
there.
games,
I
music, stuff
saw
like
that
that.
movie. It is a
Yes.
feel-good movie, actually. You're right. Yeah. There's a feel-good factor to
Yeah.
it based on the nostalgia. Okay. All right. And I'm not opposed to that. See, we're just not we're not gaming-oriented people. You know what I mean, Harge?
No, we're
you
not.
should
I'm
be.
not.
You
no.
have kids.
Might let my son go in there and play.
And you don't. And you say you don't play
I'll
with
be
your
like,
son.
what's up?
Why don't you play your son in the
Because
in the
we'll
sports
fight.
game?
Because we will fight. For real. 100%. We will fight.
Why? Because what's the real reason? Because your son, he's a trash talker.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And so am I.
That's true.
And so
And you're a competitor.
Yeah,
and so is he.
Yeah, there's been some controllers that have been broken before. Like,
Who's broken the controllers? You or him?
it's been a combination.
Yeah. I was gonna say, oh, I've broken controllers
And
before.
we've been definitely equal opportunity.
Yeah. Oh no, I feel you. I've broken. I mean, we used to have a controller like fund in the dorms because when we play Madden, there was a controller broken at least once a week. And it could be me, it could be Sims, it could be Skis, it could be Montreal Flowers, it could be a number of different guys.
Yeah, he's got money on his dresser just for those situations.
Yeah, exactly. We used to have a fund, and
Yeah.
we just put money in the fund. You break
Yeah.
your nate, you know what's gonna happen.
You break it, you buy it.
Yeah, we gonna break one of them controllers.
Oh,
It's
faux
competitors.
show.
Oh, especially when somebody they'll play college football and they want to beat you with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or they want to pick on you on the game.
Yeah,
And
I'm throwing that Rob B the whole time.
Oh, Robbie's giving up bombs out there. You're like, I wouldn't do that. Why you got me
This
sucking
game
on
is
this
fake.
game?
This game, my rating going down.
Yeah, there you go.
The only time I got really close to it was playing a game, gets right down to the end, and then they block a field goal.
Oh,
Which I'm like,
come
the
on.
odds of that happening, like you didn't do anything
It's like,
special.
is that a cheat code or something?
It was just like you just got lucky that was the one time that it just hit right, and you got. I'm like, this is not fair. That was like the game tying extra point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he blocked. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
No, trust me. I've had that.
so mad.
That's a controller. That's when you got to
Yeah,
break the controller.
that was
That's
close.
a controller breaking moment right there. That's when you do it.
By the way, nerd. He said my nerd self got it. Ike.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Ike.
Yeah.
Ike said he knew what it was.
If you're a gamer, I can see that. I actually enjoyed that movie. That wasn't a bad movie at all. All right, you can be a part of the show. You're the most important part of it. Please do hit us up on the Specs text line. 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. My man Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Also, since we're giving shout-outs, let me give a shout-out to the city of Buda.
Yes.
Because they are having a birthday coming up.
Yes, they are.
And we're going to help them celebrate their birthday. They're having a birthday party. The Horn will be there to help them celebrate. You also can join Coke FM at Buda Amphitheater and City Park Saturday starting at 3 p.m. All right. It's going to be a carnival all day long. They'll have birthday cake and BYOB.
Come on, man.
What?
Out in the park.
That's a party.
That's a party.
Live music starting at 5:45 with Uncle Lucius headlining at 7:30 p.m. You can join us Saturday for Buda's birthday celebration. Details are on the webpage at hornfm.com. Just go check it out there.
It's outstanding.
Speaking of birthdays, hey, there's a legendary Lifetime Longhorn celebrating a birthday today. We got to show him some love.
One of the coldest to ever do it, if not the coldest.
Yeah, legendary Lifetime Longhorn Earl Campbell celebrates
Hall of Famer.
68 years old.
That's right.
Yes, and the reason I think that Earl Campbell's Hall of Fame career in the NFL was so unique because there are a lot of different ways to make the Hall of Fame. Not a lot. There are a couple of ways I should say that. Just your statistical performance. You can just be statistically an outlier and elite in that category. Or usually it's the eye test because essentially they have a group of writers. They sit around and they just argue and 4 other players
Yeah.
argue, and if you got enough guys arguing for your
Goose
for your
Goslin
candidacy,
and John McClain both do that
yeah,
for
exactly.
you.
They look like, and they told me how it works. They sit around,
Yep.
they argue, and the guys go, you know what? That's a good argument. I like that argument better
Yep.
than an argument for this guy.
Exactly.
And then they kind of start hatching it out and breaking it down from there. And Earl Campbell, listen, guys, Earl Campbell only played 8 years of football.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have 10,000 yards of rushing. Ricky Williams has more rushing yards than Earl Campbell. Think about that. Ricky
Yeah.
took time off.
Yeah, he did.
And then
Walked away.
ended up surpassing Earl Campbell in rushing yards. Earl Campbell was not necessarily prolific, but all it took was the eye test. He's an eye test guy.
Mm-hmm.
He made it into the Hall of Fame for the eye test. Because essentially they sat around that table and they asked all these football minds, have y'all ever seen anything like Earl Campbell? And they all said, no, haven't seen anything like him. And you haven't seen anything like him since. You
Yep.
won't ever see. Some people said Jim Brown was like that. I never saw Jim Brown. So I don't know how Jim Brown played the game. Some people said Jim Brown played the game like Earl Campbell. Well, Jim Brown was great. But, man, the caliber of player was a little different then when Jim Brown was running over guys than Earl Campbell was running over guys. I'm not saying Earl Campbell's better than Jim Brown. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying my generation of football fans have never seen anything like Earl Campbell.
My father-in-law tells me, and he gets a tear in his eye every single time he talks about Earl Campbell. He gets a tear in his eye. He said he was the baddest man on the planet when it came to running that football.
They feared him.
And he was a Skol brother.
Skol brother.
Yeah, he was.
Skol brother. No, he really was. I mean, like I said, that's to me that shows you how extraordinary his NFL career was. Like I said, go look at his stats. They aren't really mind-popping. I'm talking about his career stats. They aren't necessarily mind-blowing. He was a hell of a player the short time that he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, he was MVP. Was that his rookie year? He was MVP?
Yeah, he was one. Yeah, I think he won the Heisman and then came in and won the NFL.
I want to say he
MVP.
wins like MVP his rookie year, his second year in the league.
Wouldn't
Something
surprise
crazy
me.
like that.
Because of what he meant to the Houston Oilers.
And
Love you, Blue.
Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a Longhorn and I love you, Blue guy.
You
so
should be.
I love Earl Campbell twice over.
Second year. He was drafted,
His second year.
He was 1978.
So, yeah.
And then 1979.
He
He's
became
in
Okay,
the NFL
so he
MVP.
won the rookie of the year, then wins MVP.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a short career, but you're talking about he was essentially to me one of the greatest phenomenons we've ever seen in the NFL in terms of just player wise.
Yeah. He was. The thighs, man. Think about it. The thighs, when you saw it, you were like, man, I'm not finna try to tackle that. Remember, they had to change jerseys because he was wearing tearaways and he was always coming out of his jersey.
Yeah.
Dude was phenomenal.
No, like I said, he was rare. I can't. There are no comparisons to Earl Campbell.
He did win NFL Offensive Player of the Year his rookie season, the next season, and the season after that. So first 3 seasons in the league.
There was no comparison to Earl Campbell. Now, maybe there was when people can't make the Jim Brown comparison, but we have not seen a comparison since, and there won't be. Yeah. There won't be. Even if they have the physique and they have like the physical some of the physical measurables that match up with Earl Campbell, they won't play the game like Earl Campbell. Nobody plays the game like that anymore. I don't think you can.
You can't.
Earl
It's not
Campbell probably
allowed.
would have been the first offensive player they kicked out of a football game with today's rules. They would have ejected him out of the game. Like, nah, Earl, you got to go.
Yep.
You can't be hitting DBs and linebackers like that, man. You just
He
lowered-
would have been a reason why they had to make the rule about spearing.
Bro, exactly.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did. He speared that guy. Remember the Ram?
Ram. Yeah.
He speared that dude, man. Almost ruined that dude's career.
Done.
That dude said he had to go to counseling after that. No,
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Oh, I didn't
Said he
remember.
said he went through some dark times because of that. Because it was basically one of those NFL plays that NFL films made famous. Playing over and over again.
Yep.
You know, every time he watches an NFL highlight, they'll play it 30 years later, still playing that damn highlight.
Yeah.
Everybody even knows what I'm talking about. I don't
And
have to describe
everybody
it.
sees it and they're like, ooh, the entire time.
Man. Yeah, someone says Adrian Peterson was close. Close, maybe.
I mean, but then
Not
again,
maybe.
I think Jim Brown won MVP his rookie season and a sophomore
So,
season.
yeah, some people said Jim. I never saw Jim Brown. So
No,
I
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. If we want to look at just short career, but clearly dominant.
Yeah. I got to look at Jim Brown's career rushing. Jim Brown's 11th all time. Jim Brown's got 12,000 rushing yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Jim Brown was awesome. Jim Brown was great. My point is, like, Jim Brown, like Earl Campbell. Usually, when you have that few rushing yards, you don't make it into the Hall of Fame. People don't put you there. They go,
Right.
nah, man, you got to at least get to 10 G's.
Yeah.
No, they sat around the table and said, "Man, did y'all watch Earl Campbell?" Everybody said, "Yeah, we watched
Yeah,
him.
we did.
He's in. Yeah,
We
he's
need
in.
to make
He's
sure
in.
that he
We
is
don't-
in there.
Y'all want to argue stats? Nah, we don't need to argue stats. If you didn't see it, it's eye test. You ain't see him,
Yep.
then screw you.
Yep.
He's in.
You should have been paying him a little bit more attention.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, that's why I think he's the incarnation of Bevo with a football.
Ooh, good point.
I mean, that's
Good
all I
point.
can think about is that's
Yeah.
what he literally is the incarnation of that. That's why Loman
Yeah.
fans love him so much. He's basically Bevo with a football.
And every time they see him, they get a tear in their eye.
They should.
You know what I'm saying?
He had to have his jeans, I believe, specially made at
Oh,
Texas. Because they couldn't find jeans that fit his thighs.
He was a wrangler. You know what I'm saying?
He would have had a great NIL deal if that was the case. these
Say
days.
what?
Had to have his jeans specially made?
Oh,
Come
my
on, man.
goodness.
There you go. So that's our Earl Campbell tribute. Skull Brother.
Skull brother.
Yeah.
Love
like
it.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, he's 68 years old, so happy birthday to the great, legendary lifetime Longhorn and Hall of Famer Earl Campbell.
And he'd probably be excited if you go and buy some meat to put on the grill this week.
Get some of that Earl Campbell sausage.
That Earl Campbell sausage. He'll be proud of you if you got some of that right now.
All right, it is a fact here, and I like this from Mike. Jim Brown wasn't playing with as many brothers. That is a fact.
True.
Hey,
True.
Just saying. Someone says the Nigerian Nightmare was closest thing to
Christian
me, to
Okoye
Tyler
was
Rose.
not there because of that.
He
man.
wasn't as athletic as Earl Campbell.
No.
Earl Campbell would get out once he got out on the edge.
He wasn't catching it.
You know what I'm saying? He would actually try to burn off on people.
Yeah.
And then I'd rather him burn off on me. I'd have let Earl Campbell burn off on me. I couldn't get the angle on him, coach.
You would have come up like my ankle. My ankle.
I couldn't get that angle on him, coach. I ain't trying to meet that dude with the angle.
I
No
tried.
way. He'll be looking for you too, trying to lower the head. Nah, you ain't getting me, Earl. I'm grabbing them ankles.
Yeah.
All about them ankles.
For sure.
I can tell you a good is I have 2 Earl Campbell autographs in my office right now.
Do you really?
I do.
That's
I have a
right.
Texas one and an Oilers one.
Oh, God bless you. I actually,
And I need one for both.
I have one. I have an Oilers one, but not a Texas one. Strangely
I got a
enough.
Texas hat in there, and that one's 2 Patrick too. So it's you know.
Ooh,
Oh, it's special.
well done.
Yeah.
What about Mike Allstott? Nah, we got 2 Allstotts. Someone said Allstott played like that. He did. He played like that, but he wasn't as athletic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like Earl, like I said, go watch Earl. Go watch how loose Earl was, and for being how thick and big he was. He was thick with it.
Yeah, he was.
He was built like a Kardashian, but he had speed.
They did too.
Right? Exactly. Man, he had that badonk, man. He was just, I mean, he's basically, Jim Brown is probably the comparison. And like I said, I never watched Jim Brown, so
Yeah.
Jim Brown was a beast, no question. All right. Anyway, shout out to Earl Campbell. I love the Earl Campbell Oilers story, though, about the conditioning test.
Oh man, that was outstanding.
That the Oilers used to have a conditioning test where they made every player run a mile, and every position have to run the mile in a certain time. And really, Earl Campbell failed the conditioning test. I mean, horribly. It was terrible. And then after they were talking, and the media was asking Bum Phillips about it afterwards, and they was like, "Hey, we heard Earl failed the conditioning test. Are you upset about that? What are your plans? You gonna make him take it over, whatever?" And and they were like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's a mile." And he was like, "You know what? When it's third mile, I won't hand it off to him." I was like,
I love it.
man, no
No
you're
doubt.
damn right about that.
No doubt.
All right, let's get to some NFL news notes and nuggets. I think it's a perfect transition. Okay, so apparently Arthur Blank upset Lamar Jackson recently. He was asked about why he's disinterested in Lamar Jackson, and there are a lot of people giving reasons, executives, GMs, and coaches giving different reasons. And one of the reasons Arthur Blank did actually ended up soliciting a response from Lamar Jackson. He was upset about the quote that he saw from Arthur Blank, the Falcons owner. So essentially what Arthur Blank said was, and I got this from The Athletic. He said, quote, he was asked about Lamar Jackson and whether they would pursue him. He said, quote, looking at it objectively, I'd say there's some concern over how long can he play this style of game. Hopefully a long time, but he's missed 5-6 games each of the last 2 years. Each game counts a lot in our business, end quote. The response from Lamar Jackson, because apparently Lamar Jackson took offense to this, he said, quote, let's get real. I'd rather have 100% PCL than go out there and play horrible, forcing myself to put my guys in a bad situation. Now that's selfish to me. He also went on to say, I don't remember me sitting out on my guys week 1 versus the Jets to week 12 versus the Broncos. How come all of a sudden I sit out because of money, in which I would have on which I could have gotten hurt at any time within that time frame. There was a thinking emoji. When we know the Super Bowl been on my mind since April 2018, end quote. So he's going at the narrative that he might have set out the end of last season, including the playoff game, because of negotiations or because of the way that he felt a certain way about the Ravens organization. He's hinting there that was not the case. I was genuinely hurt. That's why I didn't play.
That's why he put the narrative out there, because he was hearing what everybody was talking about.
And I think that Arthur Blank statement also said, I'm like, okay, people think that, first of all, that I'm injury prone or something all of a sudden.
Right. Now, all of a sudden, I'm the one that's always hurt. When you go back and you look at my career, I didn't miss very many games, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the frustrating part for me is everybody's trying to figure out a way to not pay him. But you wasn't talking about that when he was an MVP and he was playing on the rookie minimum, right? Like everybody always forgets that. And they convenient with it. Oh, he did that on the rookie deal. Man, well, I thought he was underpaid on his rookie deal because he did win an MVP. You should have came at him right then and came and brought the money to him because you knew he was going to be around. That's the frustrating part to me because it's always the switch up when somebody is trying to get money that they earn. Because we hear it all the time. Oh, he outplayed that contract. Oh, man, I can't believe they're paying him that contract. It's like, it's not your money. It's not your money. And if somebody is going to give me that money, I'm taking that money. And that's the thing. And then you got to negotiate your worth, because people are going to pay you what you feel you worth if you come in there with a great plan. Kind of like what you were talking about, the Hall of Fame conversation. Somebody comes and presents you the right way, which he doesn't have an agent, kind of hurts him. And again, I told you this from the very beginning, feelings got hurt because he's the one sitting in those meetings. And they're telling you why I'm not going to pay you that money. At least you would have had a buffer in between to give you a better version of what they're dogging you about. Now you're hearing it with your own ears.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think there's this point, too, with all these teams. They're like, well, we're not, like, first of all, that doesn't mean you shouldn't talk to him about it.
Exactly.
Because you should sit and talk to him and go, all right, well, this is why we can't give you this amount of guaranteed money because we're worried about this. We need to make sure we have guarantees of how many games you play. And we're fine with if you play 16 games or you're healthy to play and we can do your medical test or whatever we want to do, that you'll get the guaranteed contract. But if you are continually getting hurt. But for me, you go, man, put weapons with him and try and create a different player or quarterback and try. If I was to trade for Lamar Jackson, I would say, hey, we need to try and take him to the second part of his career now. Yep. He's doing really well. We need to use him in that, but we don't need to use him in that for 16, 17 games a season. We just can't do that because it's too much wear and tear on anybody, and they're more likely to get hurt. So let's try and figure out other ways we can use him. Let's give him some other weapons. The Ravens don't want to do that, but the Ravens are making it out like, hey, man, we have not given him any wide receivers.
Right.
We're not giving him any help. We gave him Mark Andrews. That's it. And we tell him, and we're calling the plays. He's not calling the plays. Right. We're calling the plays and telling him to run and running quarterback draws and everything else, and then wonder why our quarterback's getting hurt when we use him like a running back. And running backs get hurt. And if you notice, the Baltimore Ravens can't keep a running back either.
Yeah.
So maybe their staff sucks too. We saw the NFL Players Association poll that their training staff got an F.
Exactly. Great point.
So maybe we can look at all these other factors and not go, it's just this one thing, because we know what all these owners are doing, which is, hey, we have to give a reason so it does not look like we all sat around and talked about this before Lamar Jackson became before they put the franchise tag on him. We all had this sort of conversation, and we all decided we weren't going to go after him. But just come out and say it. Just go, I don't know, we don't want to go for him because the Ravens told us he was a bad guy. Say that, because that's the truth. You are getting all your info from the Ravens about how he's not the person that you want to put on your team because the Ravens are playing you to keep their guy for less money.
Yeah, no, those are all good points. What I would just add to that is just Arthur Blank, he did want to pursue Deshaun Watson, and if he's worried about durability, as a Texans fan, I can tell you, Deshaun Watson, hell, he missed, as a rookie, ended up missing 10 games as a rookie in his rookie year, missed games in 2019. He, of course, had the game where he set out in protest, I guess, for the Texans, and then had the suspension, and he was willing to sign or at least pursue Deshaun Watson, even with him being an irresponsible runner. He's a reckless runner. I can tell you right now, you remember that pass. He'd run into line. Remember
I
Jalen
used
Smith
to
hit him on
see
the
it.
goal line?
Yes.
He was just a reckless runner,
Yeah.
man. Helicopters, all kind of stuff. He was just wild. But as a Texas
Remember, he
fan,
got
you
his
enjoy it.
spleen busted.
Yeah, like he does not care about his well-being when he is running. He's not
Well,
a
he was
smart
going to get a
runner.
massage afterwards
Exactly.
because he knew he was going to be okay.
If you also look at, because a lot of people believe that sacks are a quarterback stat. If you look at sacks that quarterbacks are responsible for, man, he by and far and away leads the NFL in sacks that quarterbacks are responsible for.
Right.
So he brings a lot of his own kind of wear and tear on him with those sacks, and yet, even not knowing how long his suspension was going to be, he was going to miss more games. They were willing to pursue Deshaun Watson. So my thing is, if you're willing to pursue Deshaun Watson and all that, then you really can't bring up injury. That's the reason you're not pursuing Lamar Jackson.
man.
Just say what it is that you don't want to pursue him because of the contract or whatever it may be.
Unbelievable.
Okay, we'll get back to some of those NFL conversations. We got a special guest coming up next. What you got in Hard Knock Life?
That's right. We're going to have Hall of Famer Chipper Jones coming in to preview the Major League season. I can't wait to talk to him, catch up with him, and I'm going to ask him what he thinks about these pitch clocks and how would he have responded to some of this stuff.
I like that. Coming back, we got a Hall of Famer. We were just talking about a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
We got another one coming up.
Another
right
one.
on Hard Knock Live right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
You want to be a Hall of Famer yourself. I know you think you walk around like you should be in the Hall of Fame. How about being a Hall of Fame in that bedroom? That's right. Hit my friends up over at Blue Chew. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredient that you would find in Viagra and Cialis, but it's in a chewable form and it's at a fraction of the cost. I know Blue Chew has always been a part of the performance enhancement business, but now it's going to be all up in the bedroom where you can have that extra confidence when it's time for you to perform. Here's the best way for you to go about it. Go online and you can figure it out at bluechew.com. There's no doctor's office visits, no awkward conversation, and there's no waiting in line where people will be hearing your business. They just ship it straight to your door in a discreet package. It's a brown package, just so you know. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their online medical professionals, and once you are approved, your prescription will show up in a few days. And the best part about it, as I said, it's all done online. If you don't like swallowing pills, no problem. It's in a chewable form. So make sure that you understand when it's time for you to perform, you want to visit bluechew.com. We had a listener come up to us and said, oh, yeah, Blue Chew is definitely the way to go. Matter of fact, you can do this. If you're listening to me right now, you can try Blue Chew for free when you use the promo code, you guessed it, Hardball at checkout. You will pay $5 for shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code Hardball, all one word, and you'll receive that first month free. Be called a Hall of Famer in your house. Use bluechew.com. If you've been around the baseball game and been around the ballpark, you know what that introduction is. He was the first overall pick in the 1990 draft. He was drafted by the Atlanta Braves. He made his major league debut in 1993. He played his entire career with one organization. He won the National League MVP in 1999. He's an 8-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner. He also won a batting title in 2008. He was also inducted into the Major League Hall of Fame in 2018. His name is Larry Wayne Jones, but we know him as Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones joining us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. I know when you hear that song, you probably already clicking your heels. You got your bat ready to go and ready to get it going on. What's up, Chip?
Oh, man, I just getting done strapping on my batting gloves, man. That's what
I knew once you heard that song right there, you was gonna get hyped.
It's funny. I got 3 kids playing, baseball and whatnot, and they, whether they're 4, they're 6, or they're 12. Like the oldest is still here at the house. They still got that walk-up song, and inadvertently, every lineup has one dude that has Crazy Train walking up to the plate. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And I know you're over there spitting out tobacco ready to go and got your gloves and strapped up ready to play. And I love it. I love it, man. It's here, man. Opening day is here. You're back with the Atlanta Braves. You've been a special consultant, a hitting consultant with the squad during this entire time. And it's been kind of fun watching this young Atlanta Braves team develop. And the one thing that I've been talking about, and I'm seeing this more often now, the Atlanta Braves have kind of given the blueprint on locking up guys. I just said it. You played your entire career with the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves are trying to keep that nucleus together. How was spring training, and how fun is it to watch this team?
Spring training was a blast. It's really exciting. As one of the first ones who was ever, locked up early, I can just remember my second year coming in, and I think the major league minimum my rookie year was $100,000.
Yep.
And getting, re-ups right there at the end of my rookie season, and getting a 5-year deal, and knowing that I was going to make like $800,000, and in my second year, that was big for me. Especially coming off the strike, man, I had a job. I was working at a radio station here in Atlanta, during the strike just to pay the bills. So to have that kind of security for these young guys is, really a feather in their cap. Obviously, the price of inflation over the last 30 years has gone way up. But these young guys continue to prove to, the city of Atlanta and all of baseball that, hey, we know we're a part of something special, and we want to be a part of it for a long time. We want to, try and rival the run that we had during the 90s and early 2000s. And this organization is set up for the long run. And you could be looking at a team once we get healthy. And I mean, getting Kyle Wright back, getting Mike Soroka back, getting Raisel Iglesias back off the IL, which shouldn't be a big deal, and getting Ronald Acuna back into the swing of things. This could be the best team that the Braves have had during this run, maybe ever.
Yeah, and every time I look at them, and Rod and I talk a lot about this, you got Charlie Morton still throwing that sinker heavy as possible. And then you got these young players. You made a big move to go get Sean Murphy at catcher, who is a young guy but can really pole it. And then you got the middle infielders that are back together. You had to make an adjustment, obviously, when you lost Dabney Swanson. But you got Vaughn Grissom that is going to make a big role and have a lot of time there once he gets rolling again. And then, of course, you got the Rookie of the Year, Michael Harris, doing his thing. This is an exciting group of players that will, like you said, that will be around for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally roll a number of the dice and have one of 4 or 5 players in this lineup be in consideration for an MVP.
Yep.
You know what Ronald Acuna can do. Matt Olson has had a monster spring. He's certainly capable. Riley at third base, he's been finished in the top 3 in the MVP. Mike Harris won the Rookie of the Year last year. Is certainly a budding superstar. You can go right on down the line. Not to mention, some of the good young pitchers, and even though Kyle Wright is going to start the season on the IL, Michael Soroka will be in AAA, Ian Anderson will be in AAA. We got 2 young lefties coming out of nowhere that anybody has ever heard of, and Schuster and Dodd. They're going to start the season. Going to start 2 of the first 5 games of the season, and probably get 2 or 3 starts before some other guys, get back healthy. That have been very impressive this spring. I know it's spring training, but these guys, being young, have showed a lot of poise, knowing that they could be in the running, but really separated themselves as spring training went along and go ahead and make the team. And with this ball club and the offensive runs that they're going to score during the course of the year, they're going to make a lot of pitchers look good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they're going to play some good defense behind them as well. And that's the most important part, especially when you have those young guys on the mound. We're talking to Hall of Famer Chipper Jones right now. And, Chipper, you sit back and you look at the season of last year. The Braves end up losing to the Phillies. Phillies end up beating the San Diego Padres, who – prior to that, they beat the Dodgers, which hardly ever happens. The Houston Astros, go ahead, Rod. Go Stros! There he is. The Stros go out there and get another big victory, another World Series championship. As you look at the landscape of Major League Baseball, who are some of your favorite contenders right now that we should see later on in the season that will be going for that title?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the same old crew is going to be there. I think, for the most part, the Houston Astros certainly with the top end of their rotation. They're going to miss Verlander a little bit, but with the top end of their rotation, obviously, a dynamic lineup, you'd be dumb to pick against them. They're at least going to give themselves an opportunity to go back and repeat. Love me some Dusty Baker, one of my childhood heroes, so always happy for him. Troy Snicker, one of the hitting coaches. Brian Snicker, the manager here in Atlanta's son. So a lot of good synergy between Atlanta and Houston. Obviously, us getting our last one. Sorry to say it against y'all's Houston Astros. I love nothing more than to see a rematch. Later on in October. The same old cast is going to be there. I would think most of the teams that made it from the National League will be back again next year. The National League East is loaded. The American League East is loaded. I'd be interested to see coming out of the West with you guys, the Texas Rangers, and all the money that they have spent over the last couple of years, obviously bringing in Jacob deGrom, who is a monster, brother. When you get a chance to watch this dude, go out and watch this dude pitch. He is electric, one of the most electric pitchers that I've ever seen in my lifetime. So it's going to be interesting to see, if maybe some of the teams in the West haven't closed the gap on Houston, but I still put Houston maybe not head and shoulders, but at least ahead above everybody else there in the West.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about speaking of the West, and since we brought up the Astros, I wanted to bring up the Anaheim Angels. The Los Angeles Angels. We're sitting here watching the World Baseball Classic the other day, and you're seeing 2 of the most elite baseball players the world has ever seen going at it. and their team is terrible. Like, why? How can you have two guys like that, and you got the modern-day Babe Ruth on your squad, and you can still never make it to the postseason, or when you do, you never show up? What do you think's going on in Anaheim for them not to be able to excel in the postseason?
That's a good question. I think you have a lot can be said for the fact that so much payroll goes into two players, and when you have so much money going into just two players, you're going to have some holes in your roster. And obviously that kind of hamstrings you from the standpoint of addressing some of your needs, whether it be in the off season, whether it be at the trade deadline, because in order to plug some of those holes, you gotta give up something to get something, at least give up something good to get something good. And, they got a bunch of money invested in those two guys. And, unfortunately they got some holes in the rest of their roster. They've done a good job, I think, this offseason of trying to plug those holes. They will be better coming, going forward. But the fact of the matter is they're in the same division with, the reigning World Series champs and, an owner in Texas that, it looks like Jerry Jones is out there spending for the Texas Rangers. It's unbelievable how much money they're spending, the last couple of off seasons, but it has yet to pay off. We'll see if it does this year.
Hey, Chipper, I want to ask you about these new rules, man, for Major League Baseball. Everybody's really excited about opening day, but new rules, restrictions on defensive positioning and pitcher step-offs and pick-off attempts and bigger bases and, of course, the pitch clock. People are saying basically it is going to be this is probably the biggest change in baseball since integration. Some people are even saying like it's going to be a huge change in the game. What are your thoughts about the new rules?
Hey, no cussing. We're on regular regular radio, so we're not satellite.
I got you. We're not on Sirius. I got you. I'll keep it kid friendly. I was down in spring training for 2 weeks before I had to come back home, and to be honest with you, the one rule that I love the most is probably the pitch clock. We were in the 7th or 8th innings, at 2 hours. Everything was just, it doesn't do much good for concessions because most stadiums stop serving beer after the 7th. Man, you could be in the 7th, hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes, into the game. I thought it kept, it's going to really enable pitchers to get in a rhythm. It's going to really enable defenders to stay on their toes, be in a groove themselves.
Yep.
I really like the fast-paced game. Other than that, the base changes, okay, whatever. But the shift itself, I think, has really gotten the game back to, I hate to say it, its roots in and of itself, because now, guys, it's put the emphasis back on the single, the hit. It's not just about homers trying to launch it over the shift, the strikeouts, the walks. It's not about that anymore. It's brought back some emphasis on getting the base hit. Now you can hit and run. Now you can, steal bases. Now you can bunt. It really emphasizes trying to put weight back in the batting average, and the single really counts now. And that's the one, kind of the couple big takeaways that I took away from, my 2 weeks down in spring training in Northport.
Yes, I love that. I love the fact, because I talk to Rod about it all the time. I'm like, guys, don't even try to hit the ball the other way. That's the beauty of the game. That's the talent. And I understand guys are throwing a lot harder than what we were seeing. I know they're running it up there 100 miles an hour, but you still got to get your barrel to the ball, and you got to make productive outs and productive hits. And that's the part that I was missing. And to back up what you were talking about Jacob deGrom, I got a chance to go to spring training this year with the Rangers, so I got a chance to watch him pitch a little bit, him and Uvalde, and that's somebody else that is going to help that Texas Rangers pitching staff get a little bit better, and they've got some help that is on the way. We're talking to Hall of Famer Chipper Jones. And Chipper, before we let you go, man, I want to get your predictions. I want to look at it right now. I want to see who's going to be there. I know you're going to put the Atlanta Braves there, but if the Atlanta Braves are not in the mix, who will be coming out the NL and who will be coming out of the AL?
Taking the Braves out of the equation for me, I would, as much money as they spent, we were just talking about the Rangers, as much money as the San Diego Padres have spent, as much star power as they have, if they don't win it this year, I got to think some heads are going to roll out there in San Diego. I mean, they have superstars, they have pitching, they have bullpen. They have a city that is starved for a championship, and what better way to try and keep some of those superstars out there than to once again beat the Dodgers in the playoffs, overcome whoever comes out of the Central and the East, and then represent the National League in the World Series. I would have to say right now, if I'm not going with my boys, I would probably go with San Diego. And out of the American League, man, until somebody steps up and beats them, the New York Yankees can't do it. Year after year, y'all beat the crap year after year. I don't think anybody in the Central is really strong enough, man. Until somebody steps up and beat the Astros, I'm going to keep on taking my boy Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the radio with y'all. That would be my pick if I was talking to somebody in L.A.
I love that. I love that.
Love it.
Hey, Chipper, before we let you go, somebody asked me, and I think I know the answer of this. Somebody sent a text to me and was asking who was the best golfer on the pitching staff when you played. And actually his daughter's name is Maddox because he named her after his favorite pitcher on your staff. But I think I know the answer, but I want you to answer it. Who was the best golfer on that staff?
Yeah, it's not even really close, to be honest with you. Smoltz is, you see him on TV. He's played in the Senior U.S. Open, qualified for that, played in the Senior U.S. Open. He's normally finishing in the top 5, if not at the top, in a lot of these celebrity Lake Tahoe, Diamond Resorts tournaments between athletes and actors and stuff. So Smoltz was far and away the best. Glavine and Maddox were pretty similar, although I'd probably give the nod to Glavine in second place over Maddox.
That's that hockey in him. He knows he's got that hand-eye coordination. He was a former hockey player. Who's your pick for the Masters? Who's your pick for the Masters?
Like I said, man, until somebody beats them, I gotta stick with the hot hand. I gotta stick with an Austin boy and Scotty Scheffler.
Oh yeah,
he's the number one player in the world right now, and even though he didn't win the match play this past week, still flexed his muscle, made it to Sunday, made it to the semifinals. He's a defending champ, although it's hard to defend there because you have so many distractions. I think you can pretty much count on him finishing in the top 2 or 3. I would love to see Rory McIlroy complete the career Grand Slam. That would be, I think, a great kind of, him kind of sticking it to the live players, saying, don't be coming back on this tour. This is my tour now. Whenever Tiger's not playing, I'm the man. And, him stamping it with a career Grand Slam would be a really cool backstory.
I love it, man.
Nice.
I appreciate it, man. As always, you always make the listeners very happy when they get to hear your voice here in Central Texas. And as always, I appreciate you taking the time because that baseball knowledge doesn't stop. As I said, my man is a Hall of Famer. and he got some knowledge. I want to break. My boy Rod wanted to ask you. Thought you was going to be the OC for Deion Sanders, but he didn't go to Georgia Tech. He went to Colorado.
I don't understand. I thought we were boys. You know, we played in the outfield together. I called him up. I left him, sent him that text message. He never texted me back, man. I said that, we're all pulling for Deion to do good things out in Colorado. I'd love to see him take the next step in his coaching career.
No doubt, no doubt.
Chipper.
As always, bro, thank you so much, and I'll be looking forward to watching you and dealing with your Atlanta Braves and seeing if these guys can hit. If they don't hit, I'm calling you.
Oh, they gonna hit.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
All right, bro. See you.
Thanks, Chipper. Wow.
What do you say? They gonna hit.
I'm glad you asked the Deion question. I'm glad you threw that in there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I know. Because Colorado doesn't even have a baseball team, do they?
No.
Yeah.
They don't have a baseball team.
Because there's been a movement now to try to get Deion to bring back the baseball team.
Oh, they're trying to do
program.
everything now
They
that
want Deion
Deion's
to do
there.
everything. It's like, no, let the man.
He said, I'm trying to sit here and coach my team,
Man, they ain't
man.
coached the damn season yet. They want to bring back the baseball team. Great stuff there from Chipper Jones. Thanks for that, Harsh. That was
You're
good
welcome,
stuff, man. Harsh Knock Life broke out the great contact list once again and got us a Hall of Famer this time.
No doubt.
We'll get that posted for the people who caught it in the middle or who caught it a little bit late because that was a great interview. All right, we come back. We'll get the flags. Probably going to be short. We'll just come back and hit it again right here on Ball Don't Lie. I want to put it on the horn.
Hey, do yourself a favor right now. I want you to go to leaguekitchen.com. I want you to go over there and look at that menu. They have so many types of food for you, but the one thing that I always want you to understand is you got 4 Austin area locations right around the corner from you, whether you live near Belterra, Lakeway, Bee Cave, or in my hood by Avery Ranch. You can make sure that you're having a good time. It's almost the last day of March, so make sure you go over there and enjoy that March burger of the month. That's the Reuben Burger. This is made with the house beef patty. By the way, they ground all of their beef in-house. You get Thousand Island dressing, corned beef, Swiss, sauerkraut on a challah bun. The league also offers that last for the month of March, the trip to the Big Easy. You can pair it with the cocktail of the month, the Celtic Mule, and with the delicious salmon relics. It's a New Orleans favorite. Do yourself a favor and enjoy your time. Whether it's for lunch or dinner, it's right around the corner for you. Go to leaguekitchen.com and look at their menu and check out the monthly specials. That's right, leaguekitchen.com. That is leaguekitchen.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for, well, it's just time to get to the break. We went over with Chipper Jones, Hall of Famer Chipper Jones, but it was well worth it. Thanks to my man Harsh for opening up the contact list to get us a Hall of Famer doing Harsh Knock Life. We come back, we'll hit some of the NFL news, notes, and nuggets. There are a ton of them, Cowboys-related topics, but also the Lamar Jackson saga. Aaron Rodgers can't return a call. We'll talk about it all right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Apple Leasing because they can be your friends, too. Yeah, you want friends like this because these are the best friends to have, especially if you're looking for a brand new car. My friends at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. And all it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple interest, easy lease allows you to have a lot more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Inflation is through the roof. We all know it. We all feel it. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything for that matter. So leasing makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So call Apple Leasing today. What are you waiting for? 512-346-9977 and let them see how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts and all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings on to you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977 or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. We play jams from a soundtrack. My man Patrick picks his jams from a soundtrack, and based on those selections that he plays for us, Harj and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. We failed miserably today. He had to let us know.
Awful.
Yeah, that it was, is it Player One?
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, Ready Player One. That is the name of the movie. That soundtrack. Soundtrack's really damn good, actually. It's got some classic jams, throwback jams on it, and, of course, leading up to 5 o'clock with Lil Prince. And nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
I mean, this could rock the entire time. This song right here is so smooth.
It brought a smile to Harj's face.
I'm like, man.
Big smile to Harj's face.
Yeah.
So there you go. Specs text line wide open for you as well. Getting a lot of compliments, Harj, from your Chipper Jones interviews you had on Harj Knock Life. So thanks to you for breaking out the contact list for the people, bringing on a Hall of Famer. Everybody appreciates that. We will get that posted for the people who did not hear it or heard it a little bit late. Chipper Jones is fantastic. 512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. You also can hit us up via Twitter. I'm in Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. My man Harj at Hardball Harj in the Twitterverse, and Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. All right, there are a ton of different random NFL topics we got to get to, so we'll try to hit as many of us as we can. There are a couple of Longhorn kind of related topics, but also some Cowboys related topics. Get into the NFL discussion. So we'll get into that, but first I want to start with the Lamar Jackson stuff. Just the latest update. We won't spend too much time on it, but the latest update is that it has been reported by Jeff Howe, not our Jeff Howe, Jeff P. Howe. He covers the New England Patriots, I believe. It does a great job, actually. But he is reporting that the Meek Mill, remember the Meek Mill report that Meek Mill had reached out to Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots. And by the way, they have a pre-existing relationship. Yes, Meek Mill, when he was in jail, Robert Kraft was one of the advocates, tried to get him out of jail, and I'm sure was one of the more effective advocates trying to get him out of jail. And they've been really close for a long time. Apparently, he rocks a private jet with Robert Kraft, all that kind of stuff. It is being reported now by Jeff Howe that the New England Patriots will not be pursuing Lamar Jackson. So that ain't happening either. So,
not at all.
In case y'all thought that might have been a story that could get a little buzz, my Jeff P. Howe put the kibosh on it. Yeah, they're not pursuing Lamar Jackson. And basically nobody is pursuing Lamar Jackson right now. There have been multiple reports, including Arthur Blank, quote that really solicited a response from Lamar Jackson, because I think he took offense to the quote that his injury history is a big part of why teams are disinterested or uninterested in Lamar Jackson. The quote from Arthur Blank was that, quote, looking at it objectively, I'd say there's some concern over how long he can play his style of game. Hopefully a long time, but he's missed 5 or 6 games each of the last 2 years. Each game counts a lot in our business, end quote. He has missed 5 games each of the last 2 years. Including games in the 2022 playoffs. So that was crucial. Before then, injuries weren't a real concern. I will say, if you're looking at injuries at the quarterback position, it helps to just kind of look at the entire league in its totality and not just one player. At that position, guys, we only had 10 quarterbacks start every game last season.
Thank you, Rod.
I mean, you had
I can always count on you, my brother.
Basically, a third of quarterbacks started every game, which, by the way, would be a 32-team era low. So it's the lowest, that's the fewest quarterbacks to start every game since they had 32 teams.
Love it.
So just
love that.
So
nugget.
Somebody tell Arthur Blank, damn near none of the quarterbacks are making it through the entire season.
Thank you.
They just don't anymore. So we had 68 different starting quarterbacks in 2022. That also is an NFL record. And this is the same guy that pursued Deshaun Watson. So, obviously he was very enthusiastically pursuing Deshaun Watson. I can tell you right now, just Deshaun Watson's off-the-field issues aside and the allegations of sexual misconduct and even the suspension aside, him being suspended for however many games he was, 10 games and sitting out a whole nother season, all that aside, which that's a lot of time missed.
That's a lot of time missed.
He missed in a season plus. But even as just a player on the field, he missed 10 games his rookie year. He missed a game in 2019 as well. And I can tell you right now, as a Deshaun Watson, I was a fan of the Texans, not a Deshaun Watson fan anymore, but I was. But I'm a fan of the Texans and watched a lot of Deshaun Watson. He's an irresponsible runner. He's reckless. He'll try to take on linebackers and he won't try to avoid the hit or get out of bounds or slide. He will put his shoulder down. He did it against Jalen Smith.
Yep.
On the goal line. Ended up, I think he ended up with a broken rib. He ended up with maybe he couldn't even fly on the plane.
Right.
He had to take a bus.
He took a bus. He took a personal bus.
The trainers told him it'd be dangerous for you to get on the plane
if you flew.
Because your lung, he had like a collapsed lung or something like that he was dealing with. He's a reckless runner, and yet there was no talk about that at all when Arthur Blank was
gave all
pursuing
the
him.
money.
They were thinking about giving him. The Falcons wanted to give him money and wanted to pursue Deshaun Watson, and there was no discussion about how reckless and irresponsible he is as a runner and his injury history. And by the way, another thing, there is a stat and there's a belief in the football world, if you look at football theorists like myself, that basically sacks are a quarterback stat. That it's more of a myth that most of it's on the O-line. It's more on the quarterbacks holding on to the ball, making the wrong reads, those types of things. Well, Deshaun Watson, if you look at quarterback sacks or sacks quarterbacks are responsible for, I should say, he's responsible for 6 sacks in 7 games his rookie year. 7 sacks he's responsible for in the 6 games in 2022. And he's been responsible for at least 14 or more sacks in every other season. He gets himself hit a lot.
Thank you.
Aside from running. So my point is, you can't be throwing out it's Lamar Jackson, he gets injured too much. That's one data point in the overall evaluation. You can't make it the central data point.
You can't be.
Because if it is, then we got to say that about all the quarterbacks
We
that are
got to
missing
sit
time.
there and look at every single quarterback and say, wait a minute, this dude missed this time, this dude missed this time, this dude missed this time. And then I know the texter just talked about the playoffs and everything. But listen, here's the deal. When you play for the regular season, get to the playoffs is a bonus. Because everybody can't make the playoffs. Everybody can't win a championship. Every team is not constructed to do that. So when you're sitting here and you're talking about this young man missing games, here's the deal. In 2018, he started 16 games. 2019, 15 games. 2020, 15 games. Last 2 seasons, 21 and 22, he played 12 games. We just went to 17 now? Mm-hmm. So you just added a couple games. He's played 70 career starts. He's had 70 career starts in the NFL. That's normal. That is a normal day. That is a normal quarterback in the NFL.
Well, and if we want to talk about him not going out there and not 100% in a playoff game that was not 100%, like it wasn't a thing where they were really had much of a shot in the playoffs because, again, defense wasn't any good this year and their offense has 0 weapons. At what point a lot of people said he should have sit out this year because the Ravens were not going to offer him a contract.
A lot of people said
and he
that.
played the whole season, and then at the end of the season, when they go, no, we want you to go out there and hurt yourself. We want you to rip your entire knee apart so we can offer you less money. At what point can we just say the Ravens have played this to try and injure Lamar Jackson or have him play for less money? Like, they have been cold and heartless throughout this whole thing.
Yep.
And somehow Lamar Jackson comes off and everybody goes, yeah, he's a worthless guy. I mean, I won an MVP, and if he was on my team tomorrow, I'd love to have him, but I don't want to pay him any money to do it.
Exactly.
Like,
it's not just Lamar Jackson, because you make great points. Not just Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Anytime we have, and I don't know why in this country it's like this, and I don't want to get too deep into the socio-political realm of it, but we talk about labor versus management.
Yeah,
for sure.
For some reason, sports fans, even though most of sports fans are labor and not management, they choose the side of management and not labor. It is the weirdest thing. When you're talking about pay for play at the college level and NIL and all that kind of stuff, most of the time sports fans side with management, not labor.
And I get it.
In their world, in the employment world, they'll side with labor against management, but they don't do it in the sports world.
No, and I get it in the fact of
it's weird. It's weird.
I get it in the fact that I can tell you I have a better shot of being an owner than an NFL player at this point in my life. Now they're both 0, but I have a better shot at one. One's 0.0001%. So I can kind of see it in one sense, but yeah, it's the fact that for me that it's like the Ravens are being so terrible during this, and they're just radio silent now because they understand Lamar's just going to keep digging a hole that they know they're going to put it. But if I'm Lamar Jackson and at 25 years old, I'm like, cool, I'm not playing for you. Like, why would I ever go back to this franchise who has so effectively gone to every other team in the NFL and badmouth me?
No, I
For
totally
clearly,
agree.
like, I know what they told me in a room. I didn't realize they were going to go to the combine and tell every other team in the league that I'm worthless.
The only problem with the doomsday scenario, because I think it is something he's considering, basically blow it. Everybody loses, right?
Yeah.
He loses. The fans lose, Ravens lose, NFL loses. Is that look at going back to Deshaun Watson? Man, when you miss time at quarterback, it is debilitating to your skill set.
Yeah.
Because you don't not to cultivate your craft and have those actual real game reps. Deshaun Watson went from playing like a top 5 quarterback with a mediocre roster with the Texans. I mean, they weren't a great roster, but he's playing like a top 5 quarterback to now he looks like he can't play in the XFL at times because he'll get it back.
He looks like me trying to go out there and play right now.
Exactly. It'll take him. He'll
Exactly.
get some of that back. But man, losing that kind of time as a quarterback, I would advise against that if I was Lamar too. Like, man, no, you don't want to miss that time. Bro. I know. I
Right.
know what.
That's a very fair statement right there.
What I've been saying about this, it seems like the Ravens are sabotaging this negotiation.
Absolutely.
I've been saying it from day one. I said it's just like you know it when every guy knows this. You're in a relationship with a woman and you're too much of a coward to break up with her. So what do you start to do? Sabotage relationship. Be an a-hole. Be a d-bag. Start treating her bad. Start doing this. She like at one time she's gonna have enough self-respect to go. I'm breaking up with you.
Bro,
'cause
you
you're an
got to
a-hole.
go.
You got to go.
Yeah.
I got too much respect for myself. I need to be treated better. And every man goes, you damn right you do. Thank God. Took you long enough to figure it out. It seems like the Ravens are sabotaging this thing. And it's very, very strange. Here's another element to think about, though. And I think about this and it seems like behind the scenes, not only is the NFL working against, and the owners are working against Lamar Jackson, and that's enough, right? Because the NFL owners are a very powerful group. You know who else is working against Lamar Jackson, and I never thought about it? The agents.
Yeah.
Agents don't want this.
Because they want him to be
Agents want you to be
That's a
represented by agents
great
because you're
point.
affecting their money. There are 17 players currently in the NFL right now representing themselves. They do not, I repeat, do not want this to become a common thing where players can represent themselves. Hell to the no. They need Lamar Jackson and everybody else to see the light that you need an agent. So they want that. So if you're looking for some sinister forces behind the scenes working against Lamar Jackson, other than the owners, it's the agents. The agents don't want this. The agents are already losing out because, and Patrick will tell you this too, the NBA is doing a lot of this. They're working their own deals. A lot of guys are representing themselves. That's a player empowerment league. And they don't really need, they got a guaranteed contract. So they need agents less than the NFL players need agents. But the NFL agents, they don't want this to happen. I've heard about it. They are against this at all odds. They will do anything to stop this Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Because if he wins as his own agent, you know how many guys are going to say, man, middle finger to those agents. I represent my damn self.
The only
Me and my
difference-
mama got this.
The difference is, and I agree 100%, and I didn't even think about the agent aspect of it all until you just brought it up, and it just brought everything home to this deal. The only people that can truly represent themselves are linemen, because you're left tackle, and you can go in there because they know they need you, and defensive backs. Those guys are the ones that negotiate themselves, like Richard Sherman did his own contract.
Richard Sherman did do his own
He did
deal.
his own contract. And I'm sitting here looking at the quarterback position. Why? It is the most valuable position on the field. And the highest paid players, 9 times out of 10, are the quarterbacks. And you're right. The agent not being able to represent a quarterback in this world.
What, big money.
And that is like, nah, bruh. We can't let this happen.
That's a great point. They don't care about the position.
No,
guys.
they don't care about that.
Like, go make. Go
it's
do
the
your-
quarterback
You're right, 'cause
that's
I
the
don't-
most important.
I think you're right. He might be the first quarterback to do it.
Yes.
I think the rest of them have been skill position guys. From now, there's a lineman for Seattle.
But
He went
again,
he
lineman.
did it, but he was a lineman.
Lineman.
He did the crypto deal and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he lost that too.
Yeah, he did.
He lost
I
that, too.
forget his name. I think it's Oklahoma State, if I'm not mistaken. Remember that guy?
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken.
I
You know what I'm
don't
talking
remember
about?
his name, but I know
can't
what you're
remember his
talking
name
about.
right now. But that's a great point, Harch. You're right. The quarterback is what scares
The
him.
quarterback.
representing himself scares
Yes.
him because that represents a game changer.
Because he is
That's the money.
face.
Yeah.
That is where the
And-
money go.
That's yep.
Yep.
No, you're right. Good point. Speaking of the money, Pat, you had something you wanted to add? Sorry, I thought you wanted to add something. My bad.
No.
I thought you wanted to add something. My bad. Here's another thing. Speaking of the money, so I think Jim Irsay might have said the quiet part out loud, and I do this sometimes on air, so I know how it feels. You get too into it and you say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
The quiet part is basically that we know these owners do not want to give a fully guaranteed deal. Like we know they're against this. The quote from Jim Irsay, and it's from yesterday, and I think we hit it, but I don't remember reading this part of the quote, but maybe I just didn't pay close enough attention. When Jim Irsay was asked about Lamar Jackson, he said, quote, "The money is not a problem, but I do not believe in fully guaranteed contracts," end quote. That's it.
That's it.
He just said it.
Yeah, out loud.
He said
out loud.
He said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, he said
he
it.
just doesn't believe in fully guaranteed deals.
It's like us going on this thing right here and start reading everything that goes on there, and then you're like, uh-oh, I'm not supposed to read that out loud.
Oh, thank you, Russell Okung. Thank you,
Yeah.
Longhorn in Lubbock. Yes,
That is.
it was Russell Okung. It was him. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
He just said the quiet part out loud. They don't believe in it, and that's how all the owners feel.
Yep.
And for the NFL quarterbacks, you're right, Hart. It's going to be those guys who are going to end up setting the precedent. And if it's not Lamar Jackson, because I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to get it. He's not going to get the fully guaranteed deal. It's not going to happen. Right. So now the only two we have in history are Kirk Cousins, who got the 3-year. And basically Kirk Cousins, he's the one that really was able to manipulate the franchise tag to his benefit.
Right.
We had those 2 years in a row. Got those 2 fully guaranteed deals, and then ended up getting the 3 years of a fully guaranteed deal with Minnesota.
Yep.
Who's Kirk Cousins' agent?
I think Kirk Cousins. No, I'm just kidding.
Kidding. Kirk Cousins.
That's who he need to get then.
He has
Kirk,
a good agent. He has a damn good agent. I forgot. That was the first. And then David Mulligata, of course, gets the Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed deal, which was more impressive because you have multiple allegations of sexual misconduct against the guy and serving a suspension, and yet he still ends up getting the biggest fully guaranteed deal in NFL history. So now everything rests on Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
If Joe Burrow don't get a fully guaranteed deal, and he's got a cheap owner. He's got a cheap billionaire.
Got the cheapest.
He's got a cheap owner. Cheap owner. So he might not get it either because he's got a cheap owner.
Yeah, that is.
And if Joe Burrow don't get it, who's going to get it after him? Justin Herbert's working out a deal. Justin Herbert ain't getting a fully guaranteed deal. He don't even want one. He's not the kind of guy that's going to fight for it. Is anybody going to get one now? Or are we going to let the Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson deals act like they never, ever happened, and we're just going to move on? NFL will never get fully guaranteed contracts.
That might be it.
Okay.
That might be it. It may not be anybody.
I don't know if it's ever going to happen now.
No.
I don't think it's ever going to happen now.
No, I think what ended up happening.
If Patrick Mahomes didn't get it, and Patrick Mahomes didn't want it, but if he wanted it, he probably would have got it.
Yeah.
He didn't want it, so if he didn't want it, the next other guy to have that kind of clout would be Joe Burrow. I don't know if Joe Burrow doesn't get it, I don't think anybody's going to get it.
Yeah. That's very fair.
Unless Patrick Mahomes wants it in his next contract. Now, he might get it in the next one.
But, I mean.
Patrick Mahomes could get it in that, but he may not want it either.
This is so confusing.
You're a baseball guy, so you can't fathom this.
I can't fathom this.
You're like,
Only
what?
thing I've ever heard about is the arbitration. Right? It's like, I'm getting money one way or another. I was talking to Swindell about this one day at the game, and he was like, yeah, man, I sat across in that arbitration, and it was terrible. It was a terrible conversation because you feel your worth is something, but you're listening to tell you win a Cy Young award, you're one of the best pitchers in the game, and they keep telling you that no, this dude right here had better stats than you. You just won it because of who you are.
Your Cy Young was suspect.
What?
You had a suspect Cy Young, man.
Exactly.
What you talking about?
And I'm like, okay. Okay. Then you mad. You know what I'm saying?
You should be.
Like, you going out there with a chip on your shoulder, you going to give me my money. And you go out there and get your money.
And that's what's happening now. This chip on the shoulder. And I don't think you can repair this. It's too personal.
It's because he sat across from that.
Yeah. Too personal.
There was no buffer to tell him, chill, I got you. I'll make sure you get your money. No, it's him and his mom and whoever else. And Ken Francis.
And Meek Mill.
Don't
now,
you
apparently.
ever call me Francis.
Meek Mill, too.
Yeah.
Cat 2 says, why isn't the NFLPA helping Lamar? They're the weakest players association in all of major American sports.
They need to go get the people that represent Major League Baseball. They need to get that PA to come
Baseball is smart.
out.
Baseball is smart because their player association, they won't let you take less money.
Yep.
Right? They will straight up, they will stall your negotiation and be like, Harge, you can't take less money.
Yep.
You're screwing over all the other guys.
That's
who
exactly
go get money
100%
after you. So you got to get max money, baby.
That's 100%.
We need them to overpay you.
Yeah,
that's good for the league.
I should have
They
asked
overpay
Chipper
you,
that. I should have
right?
asked Chipper that.
And the NFL is the opposite. The NFL let
Yeah.
Tom Brady, the GOAT, the best player, most recognizable figure in the league, take less money
Yep.
for years because he wanted to win championships, which is good. I'm all for that. But we're having a different discussion than the championship discussion. We're having a discussion about straight cash, homie, about
Run me
fully
my
guaranteed deals. And this is why the NFL will never have fully guaranteed deals because they are brilliant at class warfare. They put the NFL, basically the players are fighting themselves.
Yep.
The careers are way too short for players right now with 3.5 years at their average, that's their average career span, for them to hold out or for them to decide that they're going to change the CBA or protest for a better CBA that guarantees fully guaranteed deals because they have such a short career, they can't afford to miss 1 or 2 of those years.
Nope.
So, and the players who are kind of at the bottom of that totem pole, like the Rod B's of the world, all right, the
hardball Harges. I was at the bottom of that totem pole.
Exactly.
Too.
But you got fully guaranteed deals.
Sure do.
Tom Brady, the fully guaranteed deals don't matter as much to that group, and that's 80% of the league.
Yeah.
That's 80% of the league. So 80% of the league doesn't give a damn about the top 20% who are saying, hey, guys, we need to hold out for better health care, which they do. We need to hold out for fully guaranteed contracts, which they do. But they won't ever win that battle because it's the NFL players fighting against themselves.
No doubt about it.
As opposed to the union of the owners, union of the Major League Baseball players who are always united.
And the USFL players and the XFL players that would gladly be scabs if the NFL ever tried to hold out.
Yeah.
If the NFL players tried to hold out. There is so many players that would gladly play a season in the NFL as scabs.
Yeah, the NFL doesn't. Yeah, exactly. The NFL, they don't have the unanimity that Major League Baseball does.
Not at all.
Or that the NBA players do.
Correct.
So I don't. Those fully guaranteed deals are probably never going to come.
Not in the NFL.
And they'll never be for every player. We're just talking about for the top players.
Yep.
Like for the top 1% of the NFL, they can't even get fully guaranteed deals.
No, former MVP.
Former MVP in his prime.
In his prime.
Yeah, so I don't.
25-year-old, 26-year-old former MVP.
That's right.
No.
So the Players Association, they should help. They should force Lamar to be represented by David Mulligetta, honestly. I'd pay David Mulligetta and say, David Mulligetta, I need you to represent him and get him max money, if fully guaranteed or not, get him max money because that's good for the league and the players.
I love it. I love that thought process.
They do also need to really look at that non-exclusive franchise tag and figure that out because, boy, is that a joke. When they're like, hey, man, so we're going to give it to you, but it's 2 first-round picks. And it's not you get to pick the first-round picks, even if you have multiple ones, which will make it more likely that you do it. Also, they have 5 days to match it where they won't have to tell you. So if it's in the middle of free agency, they can take every way. Basically, every single reason why you would never touch that.
Yep.
But they're also going to get to pay you less. So they basically can still do it, and they're just screwing you. But we're not. We know that's a thing.
Yep.
And they just did it to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, they did. That's a great point, too. And that franchise tag, that is still one of the biggest hustles by the owners over the Player Association in NFL history.
Yeah.
Now they got the non-exclusive franchise tag.
Which is the most ridiculous thing ever. That's another reason to say, I want you to go out there and date people, but you can't come back here.
Yeah, unless I want you to.
Unless I want you to. Exactly.
Exactly.
And I'm going to get both of them rings I gave you to come back.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
All right, we come back. We talk Cowboys on the side. Cowboys and Texans. I promise you, Cowboys and Texans. We'll get into both of those discussions when we come back on the other side. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We'll just get to some Cowboys news, notes, and nuggets here while we got a chance. So a couple of things, and something just broke about the Cowboys. Man, Harsh just told me about this. You said, indeed, the Cowboys have decided to re-sign Jonathan Hankins.
Correct. Jonathan Hankins has re-signed with the Cowboys on a one-year contract. Person familiar with the agreement. The deal is worth about $1.5 million.
That's sweet. I like that. $1.5 million. And it does show you that the Texans, we'll get to the Texans in a second. The Cowboys now officially, in my opinion, and I know running back still may be debatable, but they did make some acquisitions at running back. That was the Ronald Jones acquisition they made. That may be the only position now that you could say going into the draft could be a need for the Cowboys.
Right.
Most of the other positions, though, in the offseason that you would have said going into the draft would have been a need, they have addressed. Right, the biggest issue on defense was the cornerback spot opposite Trevon Diggs. Remember, they cycled through 4 or 5 different options there. Couldn't really find a solution there at the cornerback spot opposite Trevon Diggs. They got Stephon Gilmore via the trade. That was brilliant. On offense, they needed some more weapons for Dak, especially a true wide receiver 2 after CeeDee Lamb. Well, they got Brandon Cooks, who for some teams that could be their wide receiver 1. Certainly was for the Texans. So that's something else that is not necessarily an urgent need for the Cowboys anymore. Safety position, remember they re-signed Donovan Wilson. Also linebacker, LVE, re-signed him so they can stabilize the linebacking core. And I said it a week ago, the only thing I need them to do is address 2 things I needed them to address. The interior D-line and the interior O-line, actually. I remember bringing up both of those. And the Cowboys have addressed both to a certain extent. We'll get to that here in just a second. So Jonathan Hankins re-signed for a 1-year deal. So they're just renting those guys. Remember I said they're basically wear and tear positions, like D tackle, running back's one of those too, where the wear and tear, it really does depreciate the asset really quickly. I mean, that's just a fast appreciating asset. So with a D tackle, you'll see a lot of teams, they'll have these 1-year mercenary deals with interior D tackles. We even saw it last year with the Philadelphia Eagles with Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, and we saw the Cowboys trade for one too. And everybody needs one of these gap clogging, run stuffing, double team taking, wide body, old school D tackles. The NFL has become a zone league. Everybody wants to run the Shanahan zone blocking scheme. They want to stretch defenses and stretch them horizontally, and that's why you have a lot of defenders that are built for speed, built to run sideline to sideline to be able to defend those horizontal holes that are being developed via the zone blocking running scheme. Well, to counter that, teams know that defenses are built to stop that type of zone blocking running scheme with really agile defenders who are undersized at times, can run sideline to sideline. They're just going to run right at you. So the counter literally is the counter, the power, and the gap schemes. And when teams start running right at you, you realize, man, you're up its creek if you ain't got one of these old school wide body D tackles on your team. Cowboys last year, they realized that, traded for Jonathan Hankins. Eagles, same thing. Realized it last year. Oh, man, we got to trade for Ndamukong Suh. They got to sign Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. And every team, if you look across the NFL, every team's got one of these guys or 2 of these types of players on their roster, depending on what their style and scheme of defense is. That's why Kendrick Coburn, no need to worry about him finding a squad. He says he has visited with damn near every NFL team. Yeah, because every NFL team needs a Coburn.
Yep.
Every NFL team needs a Hankins. Every NFL team's going to need a Linval Joseph. Hell, the Eagles drafted one, Jordan Davis, because they thought, man, we'll just draft one instead of having to find one every year. But he ended up getting hurt. So I compare it to a plunger. Nobody wants to brag about these D tackles who are on these mercenary deals, and it's not something that is going to kind of make or break your roster. But when you don't have one of those guys, when the fit hits the shan, man, it is going to be a disastrous day for you, doomsday scenario for your defense, and that's why you see teams make that move to find that guy. Because, like I said, every house needs a plunger. Every defense needs one of these D tackles, and you don't construct your defense this way anymore because your defense is constructed outside in. because of the pace and space spread era that we live in now. So good for Jonathan Hankins, good for the Cowboys. I would not doubt Cowboys still draft one. I wouldn't doubt they still draft an interior D-lineman. I was saying I wouldn't doubt they draft one and go like, this is a 1-year rental.
Yeah.
We need more of a
educate
stabilizing.
my guy that I just drafted.
That is actually a good point too.
Yeah.
I could see them doing that as well.
Yep.
By the way, Jonathan Hankins stat, rushing yards allowed with Jonathan Hankins on the field, 3.67. Without Jonathan Hankins, 4.53. That's a 0.86 yard difference per attempt. Come on now. I mean, that dude's a difference maker.
Hey, now.
Yeah, for sure. And also the interior O-lines, and we talked about the Cowboys might need to address that. You don't want to go into the draft desperate. They claim, or at least Jerry Jones claims, that they are working. I got this from Clarence Hill Chill at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. They claim Terrence Steele is going to be a swing tackle for them. So he's going to be back up to Tyron Smith, who they think is going to be projected to be the starting right tackle, and Tyler Smith, who's going to be projected left tackle for them. But now, Clarence Hill reporting that they also are going to work Terrence Steele at guard. So he's going to be their swing everything. He's going to be their Swiss Army knife, if you will, that can play almost any position on the offensive line. So they're swing linemen. And the reason I think this is a good idea, I don't think it's going to happen, Harch. He's going to be their swing tackle, playing back up to Tyron and back up to Tyler. But this is their way of addressing more the interior. Remember, they brought in an interior offensive lineman. I forgot his name. I forget his name. I don't want to mispronounce it. But they did.
It was one crazy name.
Yeah. I don't want to mispronounce and disrespect him. But they did bring in a swing offensive lineman who can play in the interior for them. And I think having Steele, at least as an option on the interior offensive line, is also their way of saying, we've addressed the interior O-line. We addressed the interior O-line. So they don't want to go into the draft. Well, I say you don't want to go into the draft desperate. Going to the draft desperate is like going to the grocery store hungry. All right, you go to the grocery store hungry, you're going to buy way too much food. You're going to buy stuff you don't need because your eyes are bigger than your stomach. You go into the draft desperate, you're going to do the same damn thing with players. Don't go into the draft desperate, all right? And that way you'll be able to make the most rational decision about the best value and the best positional impact for you in the draft. That's what the Cowboys are going to do. I love the Cowboys offseason so far.
They've done a great job.
It's fantastic. I don't know what's going on with Jerry. I propose that weekend at Jerry's where they basically got him propped up, they walking him around or something. Or maybe Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, were watching the famous Seinfeld episode where George decides that he's going to do the opposite of everything that he ever did, and it leads to him getting a job with the Yankees, and he ends up, getting out of his dad mom's house and making all these big moves, and ends up getting, the job of his dreams and all this kind of stuff. Everything turns around for him. Maybe the Cowboys have decided to do the opposite, because right now, this offseason is the opposite. They invested in safety, never do that. They never make trades. They did that. Making sound decisions, cutting Zeke. These are all the opposite moves of what the Cowboys would usually do.
I'm going to tell you, if they draft Bijan Robinson, I'm going to need a wellness check on Jerry. I need it.
No.
We got to go up there, and someone's got to check. Take his sunglasses off.
Yeah,
for real.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. I'm telling you, man, I don't know what's going on. This is unlike any Cowboys offseason that I've witnessed, and it's very uncharacteristic of this group, but I think it's fantastic. It's
been
offseason.
a great move, and it's been really, really exciting to watch. Like, every time I see a move and I get that little alert, I'm like, wait a minute.
Wow.
They're making fiscal moves?
They are making great, unbelievable moves, man.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm a quasi-Cowboys fan, but you can't help but be really excited about the Cowboys.
Yeah.
There's also reported that the Cowboys are interviewing wide receivers, wide receiver prospects. There's a good chance the Cowboys are going to draft a wide receiver in this draft somewhere, too. Not sure exactly where it is. Not saying they're going to draft one early, and not saying that with the first pick in the first round or anything like that, they're going to draft a wide receiver. But there's a report out there that Josh Downs, the North Carolina wide receiver prospect, they had a long interview, long Q&A with him during his pro day. So he might be one of the receivers they like. They're going to draft a receiver, and they should, because Brandon Cooks is a stopgap really for them at the wide receiver position. Gallup is, they've invested in him. They're going to invest in CD. Probably going to need a contract here in this offseason or this upcoming football season. He'll get his contract. Those are your kind of long-term wide receiving investments.
Yep.
They're going to draft another, and that's the wise thing to do. Brandon Cooks is not their long time. They may love him and bring him back even next season too, but they do need to be drafting wide receivers. I've always said the Cowboys should draft more wide receivers. Not early. They love to draft wide receivers early. A little too early, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's fine. I mean, they like the talent. But they should draft more wide receivers. I think the perfect model for drafting wide receivers is kind of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's really good at it, and Green Bay's been really good at it over the years, too. I think Green Bay's drafted 25 wide receivers in like 18 drafts or something like that. Last 18 drafts, they've drafted... I think they've drafted 25 total out of those last 18, but not one every year. They've won a couple of years without drafting a wide receiver, but they've drafted at least one wide receiver in 13 of the last 18 drafts.
They've been doing it.
Pittsburgh has drafted 15 wide receivers since 2010. So that's like 13 years. And the Cowboys, I believe, you go look at what the Cowboys have done, they've drafted 12 receivers in the last 18 years, if I can look at it, something like that. So the Cowboys, they just don't draft enough of them. They're not bad at it or anything like that. I would just like them to draft more wide receivers. Then they won't have to worry about overpaying wide receivers. Right. Steelers and the Packers don't normally overpay for wide receivers because they draft so many good ones in the middle to late rounds. I think that's what the Cowboys are going to do in this draft. So if they do that, also something the Cowboys are doing that I really like, drafting more wide receivers in middle to late rounds. All right. We come back. We'll get into a little off the record on the other side. We'll continue with some of the other big stories of the day. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful down the horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's my man Patrick takes songs from a particular soundtrack and plays those selections for us for midweek movie music. And based on the songs, Harge and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the exact feature of midweek movie music. And this week it is Ready Player One. If you have not seen it, it's actually pretty cool. If you're into the gaming world, you gotta have it's a ton of gaming references in it too. So you gotta get that too if you're into that kind of stuff. But if not, my man Patrick's got something for you. That's why he has all the different musically themed days of the week. So we appreciate his efforts. You can go to the hornfm.com. You can go check out the Craig Way interview with Rodney Terry. I want to remind people about that. That is up there in its entirety. You can go check that out. Also, go to hornfm.com and you can go check out Coach Collier's interview with Chad and Zay. That's up there too. As a matter of fact, during the crossover interview, Craig gave a shout out to Zay and Zay, I believe, and Coach Terry had a moment too.
They did.
He did play that moment.
They did.
Well, because I think Coach Terry's been knowing Zay since he was like a kid.
They have.
Yeah. So they had a little emotional moment too. So you can go catch out a little feel good vibes. You can go get that over at hornfm.com and go check that out.
Chipper Jones' interview is now up at hornfm.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There
go
it
check out
is.
the Chipper Jones interview too. Did say that he texted Dion about that OC job. Dion ain't texting back though.
Yeah,
Dion's busy.
He's like, man, he ain't even text me back, man.
Dion's got stuff going on, man. Dion's got stuff going on. He's busy. He's a busy man these days. I totally understand that.
Hey, Dion did have Lamar Jackson's back though.
He did.
He did come out and have Lamar Jackson's back.
I didn't hear that.
Yes, so he came out to find out exactly what he said, but he did come out and.
Well, I'm glad somebody has Lamar Jackson's back.
Another Florida homie. You know what I'm saying?
That's
another
probably what
dude
it is.
from Florida. He's like, man, give us our money.
Well, it's a player. I mean, the players actually
The players
have been,
are all
they've
on
been
his
having
side.
his back. I think Laramie Tunsil had a tweet saying, "Come to H-Town."
He did.
Recently.
He did.
And by the way,
he's like, "What's good, H-Town?"
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, come to H-Town, man. What's good?" D'Amico Ryans did not close the door on the potential of bringing Lamar Jackson to Houston. It's not going to happen, guys. Trust me. But when they asked him about it, he said at the owners' meetings he didn't express an interest or rule it out.
Yep.
He said they are indeed. They said all the reports are they're not expected to pursue him, but he did not rule it out. I think that was out of respect because he's a player.
No, yes.
He's like, nah, man, that's Lamar Jackson. I'm not going to rule him out. But
everybody talk about how great he is, and I'm tired of hearing how great he is. But just say it's a financial thing. Just say that.
I'm starting to feel like, when you're trying to fix somebody up with someone and then they ask you, like, hey, are they hot or are they good looking? Are they attractive?
And they come in looking like the girl on Friday.
And you come in talking about the personality.
Yeah.
Like, and how, listen, they have a great personality.
Man, she's going to make you laugh, dog.
She's really humorous.
Yeah.
I feel like that with Lamar Jackson all the time. People are like, oh, he's a great player, but... And I'm like, man, there's a lot of butts in there about him being a great player.
Usually, and I cannot lie.
Yeah, exactly. But Lamar Jackson stuff is fascinating from a lot of different angles. But yeah, I do want to get some Texans talk in there. So next segment, I want to squeeze in just a couple of little tidbits about the Texans. I got a little nugget. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save one of those nuggets because I think I'm going to put it into a Raj rant and tie it to Texas football. So I'm going to save one of those nuggets. But I got another nugget about the Texans that I want to get into. We'll do that. But also, opening day is tomorrow. So we got to talk about Major League Baseball's opening day. And we'll get into the pitch clock a little bit because there's a lot of talk about it. Had Chipper Jones on. And he said that's the only rule change he liked.
He loves it.
The only rule change he likes it. Basically hinted that he hates the rest of the rule changes because he can't stand them. But he said he liked the pitch clock.
And what did I say? I said the one thing that I've always talked about is as a defender behind a pitcher, you hate it when a guy is walking around the entire time because you lose your focus. You're not as engaged. And if he's walking around, you're thinking about other things. If he's on the mound getting back in there, you're in rhythm. You're ready to go. Let's go.
That's a good point.
Yeah, keeps you engaged.
You got no time to get distracted.
Yes. Yeah, you're engaged.
I like that. All right, we'll come back and talk about that. I think it's really interesting because there are some people saying this is going to be one of the biggest changes in Major League Baseball that we've ever seen. I mean, right? The game without a clock. Now it's got some type of clock.
Yeah, it's got a clock.
I will get into that a little bit. Also, share some tidbits about the Texans. I haven't talked about the Texans in a while, so I'll give you a little Texans fix for all you Texans fans out there. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You know, the weather has been a little bit better, but I'm sure that there's been some times where you've been walking around and trying to figure out where that leak came from. Well, do yourself a favor and get a free inspection from my friends over there at Quick Roofing. It's real simple to do. Go to quickroofing.com, and they will come out and give you a free, no obligation inspection. I know you don't want to even think about it, but there are times that things have been kind of rough, whether it's been hail or high winds. We've had all kinds of different weather that have come through Central Texas. Do yourself a favor, go to quickroofing.com, get that free no obligation inspection. And these guys have been in business for over 39 years. You can't stay in business that long if you're not taking care of your customers. And you also have to have that great reputation for customer service. You get 7-year workmanship warranty. Quick Roofing is fully insured and have all state and local licenses. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and, of course, 100% satisfaction. Quick Roofing also makes sure that they have a project manager on every job site, making sure that you, the customer, get everything that you were promised. So what are you waiting for? Reach out today and get that free inspection. Go to quickroofing.com today. That is quickroofing.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. My man Patrick takes songs from the soundtrack of a movie, plays them for us, and based on the selections, we're supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. And this week, it is Ready Player One. It's a nice film, very nostalgic throwback. Got a lot of old school gaming references. My man Patrick also let us know the soundtrack is also fire. You can be a part of the show. Specs text line 512-337-3776. You also hit us up via Twitter. I'm at Rod Davis in the Twitterverse. My man Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. All right, I want to get to some Major League Baseball discussion. We did have Chipper Jones on, courtesy of my man Hardball Harge, opening up the contact list. So go check that out. That's also up there on the webpage at hornfm.com. You can go check out the Chipper Jones interview. Good stuff there. So it is opening day tomorrow, and the big topic of conversation is about the rule changes, specifically the pitch clock. And essentially the restrictions, they have put restrictions or new rules and bylaws in place to restrict some of the defensive positioning. There are restrictions on pitchers where they can step off and the pick-off attempts, how many they have. They got bigger bases to encourage the lost art of base stealing. You talked about that, Harge, in one of your Harge Knock Lives. And also the pitch clock, which is seen as the biggest or most impactful of all the rule changes. That the pitch clock counts down from 15 seconds with bases empty, 20 seconds with a runner on base for the pitcher. The pitch clock basically trimmed about 25 minutes of every game on average in the minor leagues last year. They replicated that same exact result in spring training. They were just going to see if it was going to be consistent in spring training. It was consistent. They shaved off good 25, close to 25, 30 minutes off of every game in spring training. So if indeed this new pitch clock ends up having the same effect in the majors, it will be the largest recorded year-to-year reduction in average game duration, and it'll have basically in 4 decades. It'll throw, and it's crazy that we had Chipper Jones on, and he mentions this.
Yeah.
He mentions this, and it's straight. I had it literally in my notes about it. I have it here, and this is what I described it as. The changes are meant to restore the game to its former state. And he said that. Chipper Jones says it's an emphasis on getting back to the single.
I hate to say it.
Yeah, he said on getting back to the single and restoring the game basically back to kind of a throwback state, or where there's more emphasis on the defensive plays and more emphasis on getting the single, just getting the ball in play. And he claims, aside from the other changes, the pitch clock he loves.
I've been saying it from the very beginning, and we had a chance to talk to Mike Capps and Reed Ryan before, talking about what they were doing in the minor leagues, how they were speeding up games, how games were being played. And I remember I told you I went to watch the A's AAA team was here playing against Round Rock, and I was getting ready to leave, and I didn't realize it was the 7th inning. I was getting ready to – I was like, man, let's go, y'all. We got to get up out of here. And I looked, and I was like, wait a minute. The game is almost over. Might as well stay now. And it's beneficial.
Might as well stay now.
Right.
That's why you said that.
Right. And it's like, well, I'm here. I'm here. Might as well finish it up because it's going to be over pretty quick because of the time. You don't even think about it, about how fast the game is going and where it is this Friday. I'll get a chance to see it again because I'll be at the Round Rock Express watching their home opener, and they got it quick. They got it down because the minor leagues have been doing it. And this also goes back to what you were talking about before, Rod. If you can be trained in a certain way in the lower levels, by the time you get to the big leagues, you've already done it.
Yep.
So it's not a big deal. You've already understood the assignment. You understood the assignment.
Exactly.
And you've already adjusted. Now, some of the old heads and guys that have been around the game for a long time that may not like it, but eventually you get used to it. You conditioned yourself to be there. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but you got a Hall of Famer saying he enjoys the pitch clock.
That's crazy.
I'm in.
Yeah. I'm with you too.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I think that was the big complaints that the traditionalists are some of the the older players and some of the players who they grew up in kind of the old era of baseball that they would not like this and that they would kind of shun the pitch clock. That's not the case. I think a lot of people are really enjoying the pitch clock, at least on the lower levels in spring training, and I think fans are going to love it when they see it at the major league level as well. And it'll take some getting used to.
No
It'll
doubt.
be awkward at times, but I think for the most part, this is something that was necessary for Major League Baseball's survival.
Couldn't agree more.
I think it's one of those things where you're going to see, probably especially in the first month, you'll see a few things where it's, hey, man, this pitcher's really bad at it, and so he gets a few, or this batter has a few, and you'll see it, and people will pick out small examples to go, this is why it's bad. And you go, man, just because 1% of something is bad and 99% of it is good doesn't mean we should not do it because the 1% is bad.
Right.
Totally agree.
And that's kind of how I feel it's going to go. Is there will probably be something, maybe something in the playoffs later this season will happen, and someone ever will freak out about it again. You go, but wasn't the season better as a whole? Like everybody enjoyed everything. They go, well, yeah, but that 1%, man.
Yeah, exactly. That one awkward situation.
Oh, no, I had one bad bite of that sandwich. The whole sandwich is bad. No, throw it away.
You're right, though. That will be magnified in the social media world that we live in. But I think when people look back in the totality of the season, and it's going to be a long season, there's going to be plenty of sample size. And I think the sample size will reflect that this was the right move for Major League Baseball going forward. That when you're talking about a day and age where, the attention span of everybody, all right, it seems to be shrinking. People just cannot. And by the way, the NFL and college football even recently decided they want to try to address the duration of games. Everybody understands we just live in a different entertainment ecosystem than we used to live in, and all major sports need to adjust to the new attention span and the entertainment ecosystem that we live in. And I'm glad they're now trying to, cater to a younger demographic. Listen, the average age of a baseball fan is 57 years old, and 50% of baseball fans are 55 and older. That is just that is your sport.
I'm creeping up on it, buddy.
That stat says your sport is dying. You got to get younger, and you got to get younger quicker. And the biggest complaint from young people about baseball is the length and pace of the game. Now, you heard the saying that it's not the size of the boat, but the motion in the ocean. And it's not necessarily the length of the game, but the pace for baseball is both.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because, by the way, baseball games and NFL games, they're about the same length. They're really long games. But people don't complain about the pace of NFL games.
Right, because there's action on every single play, and
actually,
now you're still doing different things.
There's actually more action in a baseball game than in a football game.
Well,
but
pitch to
football,
pitch,
football has better production.
Yeah.
Football has better storylines.
Yeah,
football is just more exciting, period. So, actually, you look at this action, like from whistle to whistle, some more action in other games. There's not a lot of action in football games.
No.
When you think about it.
You're true. It's true.
Exactly. But
Brandon Phillips came in here and told us that it's boring for him.
He thinks baseball's boring. We've had baseball guys come in here and say baseball's boring.
Yeah.
So I do think them checks ain't boring. That's old money right there.
Lamar.
But yeah, I think that this is important for Major League Baseball. I think it's gonna be a resounding success.
Yeah.
I really do.
I do too.
I think it's going to be really.
Especially for somebody like myself who, like I said, I want to take my family out to the game, and I go out to a game, and we're there, and the game is flying by. My kids are still having fun, and we're still being able to enjoy it. Yeah, you beating traffic, and they can go home and do homework.
Come on now. That's why soccer's taking off in this country. People love soccer.
Yep.
They love how
and that's a running clock.
Yeah, exactly. They love that they know when the soccer games. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna put aside 3 hours and we good on that.
Yeah.
Less than that, 2.5 hours probably. Whatever it
No
takes.
doubt.
Like I'm done with that. So I think it is something that was necessary for baseball, and I can't wait to see how it works out in Major League. But you're going to be blown away by how quick these games fly by.
No doubt.
There is no doubt. Everybody has said they cannot believe how quickly the games go by, and I think it's going to end up making a more enjoyable product overall. Let's talk about the Astros and the Rangers just really quickly, since we're talking about Major League Baseball. The Astros, there's a concern about Jose Altuve.
Yep.
And the injury that he sustained and right now there's talk that with the injury, they don't really have a plan necessarily at the leadoff. That you might see them experiment, move things around.
They have been. I've been seeing mostly Pena has been in the lineup batting leadoff as of right now.
Okay.
They may put Bregman there. I mean, there's so many different options that you can have because the main thing.
Somebody said they may make a trade. potentially.
They might. They might. But here's the biggest thing for me. If you take the Jose Altuve approach, you like Altuve there because he wants to hit the ball out of the park. He'll get you 1-0. So if that's the case, you put Bregman up there.
Yeah, he won't pop
you
at the
get
top.
him at the top, and then he can make some things happen. But Altuve also has that speed factor, and I don't think Bregman runs like Altuve. Neither does Pena either. But you do get a lead 1-0.
Yeah, you like that. No, you're right about that. I mean, they're going to miss his presence at the top of that lineup. And with a broken thumb, the average time missed is 44 days.
Yeah.
But he's probably going to miss a little more than that just because it's –
He's still got to get his timing back. He's got to go down to rehab. He's got to get his strength back. He's got to be able to feel comfortable there.
So,
And then he's got to adjust to the padding that he's going to end up wearing as well. There's so many different things that are going to be there.
So it's a 2-month thing. It probably will turn into a 3-month.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But at the beginning of the season, and you're
Nobody
the
cares?
Houston Astros, you can manipulate the system, so to speak, by moving different guys there until you're ready for him to be back.
Yeah, last season there were 4 broken thumbs, and Tyler Stevenson missed 29 days. Bryce Harper missed 61. Harold Ramirez missed 29. So, I mean, it's depending on the player and the situation, but usually you're talking about anywhere from 30 to 50 games or so.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So,
That's why we play 162.
They play plenty. Yeah. And Chipper Jones loves the Astros.
Yep. Shocking.
I mean, last time we talked to him, though, he picked the Astros.
Because he looks at it, too, and you look at the staff and you look at who they are. Yes, they're going to miss Verlander a little bit. Well, a lot of it, because he was the comeback player of the year and the Cy Young Award winner. But you also have Hunter Brown that is going to be in that rotation. He's very, very talented. And the other part of it is we still haven't seen Forrest Whitley yet.
They were talking. I heard Dusty Baker talking about him.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And apparently he looks good.
Yeah, he's finally going to get his opportunity. Yeah. Now, what is he going to do with it? There's 2 people that you're trying to replace with 1, right? So you got to try to figure it out. But Hunter Brown is a Verlander light.
Well, he's been essentially trying to mimic Verlander.
Yes.
And every little detail of his wind up and his pitch and his motion.
Yeah.
It's creepy. I've seen the side-by-side videos.
Oh, yeah.
It is creepy. It does remind you. Remember, Kobe did that with MJ. They used to put
walk
those, the tongue.
Oh, man.
Even some of the moves.
Yes.
Like even the fadeaway.
Yes.
I mean, Kobe stuff, it was eerily similar to MJ. I would say it almost affected Kobe's legacy negatively.
Yeah, it was.
Because so
nobody ever talks about him like that.
Yeah, it was so exactly because it was like, well, he's the greatest clone ever, but it's definitely an MJ clone.
Oh my goodness.
You know
That's why he came with the Mamba.
Even a competitive sickness.
Yes.
I mean, he also had the competitive sickness like MJ too.
Yep.
But anyway.
And then looking at the Astros, I think when we talk Astros, it's like that once we get into May and then into June, because Brantley's probably not coming back till late April, but that'll be another big addition to get Brantley back in there. And then the fact they signed Jose Abreu, and it just kind of goes unforgotten that they get a former MVP.
Thank you.
And this really good first baseman, and we all love Gurriel, but Gurriel was a hit or miss guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a power guy either, and Abreu could definitely be that and bring you another big bat in that lineup.
And you also got to remember too, Jose Altuve is a notorious slow starter.
Yeah.
He doesn't start seasons off hot at all. He gets hot. He turns it up.
Yeah.
But he is never starting off. You're like, remember last year we were like, what is wrong with Altuve?
That was like his worst start in years, a long time. Yeah. It was. It's a good point. Does that, with the injury, is that going to mean we still expect the slow start with the injury?
Well,
in addition to the injury?
He's going to get some timing issues. He's going to have some.
But then at least now you know why.
Yeah, exactly.
At least before you didn't know why.
Yeah, it was like, wait a minute. You started going on faith.
Yeah,
you're like, man, he's a great player. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're right. Now we know it's the injury that's coming off. That's a good point. And man, Patrick, I didn't think about that, the Abreu thing. It did go under the radar.
Yeah.
We had mentioned
and the fact that
happened.
Michael Brantley's going to be back.
Yeah, like you forget, Brantley was not on this team when they won a World Series last year.
Yeah, and they won a World Series.
And they won a World Series, and you had Jose Abreu at first base. Like, this team could be really, really dangerous if healthy going down the stretch.
I still can't believe that they didn't address center field.
That was a big conversation all last year.
And that was the thing, is I think there wasn't the right price, and they're probably going to wait again to see if they have a guy in the minors
and
who
I
can
love
step
Chaz.
up.
Chaz did great. Chaz did great.
So I think they're going to see if that works and then just go, let's go to the trade deadline. We have not been shy to buy at the trade deadline, but you get a better deal at the trade deadline because these teams are sellers, and right now no one wants to be a seller.
Yep.
It didn't come back to bite them in the playoffs last year like everybody thought. That center field position and the rotation and having the money ball approach at center field. It did not come back to bite them like everybody thought. So maybe that's why there's no urgency to fix the problem because they don't deem it as a problem.
Yep.
No,
Because
and
if
I
it was
mean,
a problem, it would have come back to bite them in the playoffs.
well,
last year.
and two, I
we
think
expected it to.
Brantley being out was a bigger part of that problem too, because you're saying now Brantley, Tucker is in the outfield, Jordan is your DH. I mean, that's three really good outfielders already on your payroll. You probably don't want to add a fourth insanely good outfielder on that payroll right now.
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
Harge, what you think about the Rangers, man?
I like them. I like them a lot. I like them a lot. I love what they did.
Okay.
I love the pitchers that they went out and got, guys with experience. I got a chance to talk to Uvalde, Nathan Uvalde, who came over from the Red Sox, and he was saying that it's more about the chemistry part of it and getting to understand the roles of each pitcher, where you're going to be. DeGrom's going to be the opening day starter. I personally thought that they were going to start Martin Perez, but when you get a guy like that, you have to go out there and start him.
Yeah.
So he's going to get the big start tomorrow. The position players are now going to be comfortable with when you start looking. They brought up Josh Young, the kid from Texas Tech, who was a major part of their success that they thought was going to take them to the next level.
Yeah.
He's going to be a big part of it. You got Seager that is there as shortstop, who's going to play well, and now he's getting accustomed to the American League pitchers. Simeon, who I didn't realize this until I read an article about it, he missed the reason why he probably got off to a slow start because he was doing all the negotiations for the players union.
Okay.
Trying to get everybody back.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, me neither. So he was missing time like that too. So I think they're going to be a contender. Let's put it like this. When we look in September, I expect them to be having meaningful games in the month of September.
Ooh.
And they brought in Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
The
probably
common force.
Yeah, that's a
you know
great
what I'm
point.
saying?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Because remember
enough.
last year, I was like, they need to get rid of Woodward.
Well, they heard you.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I think Rangers fans are excited the way you kind of popped up there.
Hey, man, I like
you
them a lot.
enthusiastically said, "Oh, I like the Rangers."
I like them.
It's going to be a crazy division this year. 'Cause
Yes.
The Mariners are locked and loaded with a lot of young talent to play well this year. The A's always put something together.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they can put it together enough by the trade deadline that they don't sell everything away, and then it's Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Anything could happen out there.
Oh,
Anything could happen.
man. Yeah, I'm rooting for them actually randomly.
I mean, I'm not because they're in our division.
I
but
know.
I'm rooting for Shohei Ohtani when he comes to the Astros.
I know. I know they're not a threat to the Astros. I hate to say that almost arrogantly. I know they're not a
That
threat
was
to the
pretty
Astros.
arrogant.
That is, but they're not. I think we all agree. They're not a threat to the Astros. But I do want to see them at least make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see them make the playoffs.
Look, we can just say we need a center fielder. Mike Trout, come on over. Shohei Ohtani, we could come over and play too.
The
We can
Astros
make
ain't
some
paying
things
them.
happen.
The Astros ain't paying
No,
them.
they're not.
The Astros ain't paying that kind of money. That's why they're the Astros, man. They make frugal decisions.
Frugal.
I promised a little nugget about the Texans, so I'll give you two here really quickly. Okay, so let's defensively, D'Amico Ryans, he did talk about Jimmy Ward. And Jimmy Ward, remember Jimmy Ward, one of the reasons he left the 49ers is because he wants to play safety and not nickel.
Yep.
He famously said told a story about Kyle Shanahan, about Shano. Because apparently Jimmy Ward got a little cross with the front office there, and with front office includes John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, because Shano makes all the final decisions, because he wanted to play safety and they kept playing him at nickel. And he said on a podcast, he went up to Shano one day because they had been playing him less snaps because they were playing essentially more 40 personnel, which means they're playing 4 defensive backs, not 5. So he wouldn't always be out there. And he was like, hey, man, just put me at the safety instead of putting me at nickel, all that kind of stuff. And he said he went up to Shano, and he said, hey, man, can I just play safety more than I'm playing nickel? That way I can be on the field more. And then Shano was like, I mean, do you want to ride the bench?
Right.
That's what he told him.
Yeah.
He was like, I can put you there, but do you want to ride the bench?
Because that's not what I brought you here for.
Right? He's like,
Yeah.
if I put you there, the guys in front of you, they're going to play, that kind of thing. That's what he hinted. And I think that was part of Jimmy Ward telling the story, hey, I want to go elsewhere. And he is elsewhere. He's with the Texans now. And they're going to play him at safety where he wants to play. But then DeMeco Ryans basically said, I'm going to play him at nickel and safety.
Right.
So he's going to be – but I think with the Texans, he'll be prioritized, and he won't leave the field. So if he's not playing nickel because of the matchup that week, they'll just move him to safety. The 49ers weren't necessarily doing that all the time. He wants to stay on the field. He will be one of their best players, but that secondary for the Texans is going to be tough, man. With Jimmy Ward, and we always talk about how Jalen Petrie is one of the best young safeties in the league, and then they got Derek Stingley, who's a really good player. The secondary should be a strength for the Texans next season.
I love it.
With Jimmy Ward. So he's going to play both. I mean, and it's all about the way you sell it. I remember when they were trying to get guys like DeMarvion Overshown to play linebacker, and he was reluctant. He didn't want to play it. And I was like, man, these coaches are terrible salespeople. Just say, hey, DeMarvion, we made you up a position because you're so special. You're such a unique, gifted player. We made you your own position. We call it the Overshown. It plays at linebacker depth, though. Okay. Yeah, he'll be like, oh, we had a vision for you. Just got to sell him on it. All DeMeco Ryans did was sell Jimmy Ward on the vision of how he's going to use him. And Jimmy Ward's like, okay, yeah, I'll play nickel as long as you're going to use me in this way. Just got to sell them that the way they'll be utilized, they'll be weaponized rather than utilized.
I love it.
And then they'll do whatever the hell you want them to do. Players, as Harsh knows, they just want to know that they're going to ball out.
Thank you.
Just put me in a position to be successful. I will play that position. But if I don't think exactly, if I don't think I'm going to be successful, I don't want to play that position. That's really how it works. And when they convinced DeMarvion Overshown, hey, dude, in the NFL, you're a linebacker. You ain't going to get drafted in the NFL as a safety. You will, but you might go undrafted or 7th round.
Thank you.
But as a linebacker, dude, they're going to draft you in the middle rounds.
You beautiful to them.
Exactly.
You're beautiful.
You're a
to
unicorn
them.
in them.
Exactly.
They want to shine your horn. They want to
the
saw it
hell
off if you play safety. Ain't no unicorn there. Real quick on the offense side of the ball. Okay, really quick. And I'm going to get deeper into this little offensive stat because I just found it and I'm doing some deep dives about it. So what's considered the most accurate analytical stat about wide receivers these days is called yards per route run. All right, yards per route run. They consider this to be the most accurate analytical stat to project wide receivers or to tell you how effective wide receivers are. Tyreek Hill led the NFL in yards per route run. Second was Justin Jefferson. Third was Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle was tied for third with A.J. Brown. Fifth was Stephon Diggs. Sixth, Devontae Adams. Y'all get it, right?
Yep. I'm feeling you.
You see what I'm saying? I think Cooper Kupp was eighth. Chris Olave actually was seventh. Y'all get it. Top-notch guys. So there is a stat that I'm going to share with Texans fans that I hope this applies to Bobby Slowick, and I'm going to do some more research to find out if it does. So since 2018, there have been 8 quarterbacks to have a quarterback to pass catcher connection to average over 3 yards per route run. Now, only one receiver this year averaged over 3 yards per route run. It was Tyreek Hill. Let you know, that's a really explosive stat to average over 3 yards per route run. 8 quarterbacks to pass catcher connections have done it. All of them, and since 2018, all of them are from the Shanahan coaching tree. All of them. Every last one of them. There is Tua to Waddle and Tua to Tyreek. Both of those made the list. There is Jimmy G to Debo in 2021, made the list. Jimmy G to Kittle in 2021, made the list. Stafford to Kupp in 2021, made the list. Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams in 2021, made the list. 2019, Jimmy G to Kittle made the list. Nick Mullins to Kittle, what the hell? In 2018, that made the list.
Nick Mullins.
One of these things is not like the other. Matt Ryan to Julio Jones in 2018 also made the list. So 4 Kyle Shanahan offenses from my man Shano. 2 Mike McDaniel offenses had reached this criteria for this stat, and Matt LaFleur and Sean McVay each did it once. So, like I said, since 2018, only 8 quarterback receiver combinations, pass catcher combinations, have averaged over 3 yards per route run in a season since 2018. They're all from the Shanahan coaching tree.
Uh-oh.
All right, and we're hoping Bobby Slowick can be the next. because he was the offensive coordinator for the 49ers before he left to be the OC now for the Texans. Remember, he wasn't calling plays there, though. He'd be calling plays there, but like I said, there's a history of the play callers doing really well, but I don't know who that quarterback will be and who that wide receiver will be in that connection. All right, I'm going to do some deep diving about that because I actually have a Longhorn connection to that I'll reveal tomorrow in Rod's Round the Day.
Is that connection to Sark because Shano was here?
I got a connection. We'll get into that tomorrow in Rod's Round the Day. All right, we come back. We'll get into NBA news, notes, and nuggets, basketball Hall of Fame, KD's returning, all that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. My man Patrick takes songs from a particular soundtrack, plays those songs for us, and based on the selections, Harj and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. And this week, it is Ready Player One. I actually remember the scene, I think, with this one, actually. Strange enough, I can't remember the scene.
I have not seen this movie at all.
Your son's probably seen it. He's a gamer, isn't he?
Yeah.
But it's kind of an old school gamer feel, like references, I should say.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out and see what's happening.
It wasn't a bad film. I remember watching it. I think I rented it.
How old is this movie, though?
Came out
It's not
5
that
years
old.
ago today.
Yeah,
5 years
it's not
ago.
that old,
Okay.
yeah. Because I remember.
And that's why you said this is the most recent.
Yeah, because I don't think we've done anything within the last 5 years.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think we've
I
done
don't think we have either.
anything that recent either.
Yeah.
Makes us all feel a little bit old. Also, seeing your kinfolk,
Yeah.
Nico, make me feel old too.
Yeah.
And he's bigger than I thought.
Yeah, he's a good-looking young man.
Yeah, he's bigger than I thought too, man.
Yeah.
Got some nice size on him. The flex is coming up after we get done. And Ball Don't Lie. They got a very special guest because Harsh knows everybody. But this time he actually does. He kinfolk.
Yeah.
He actually related to.
Familia.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a great show coming up, man. Zach Lucero's already in the house. I'm sure the Flex fam.
I
they're
saw
already
the
here.
seed already.
The seed, no,
Yeah.
Nogan's already there too. So they got a very special guest. We'll get some details about that coming up in What's on Tap. But right now, I want to get into some NBA news, notes, and nuggets. And also, there's some congratulations that are in order because the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, or at least it hasn't officially been announced, but Adrian Wojnarowski, he's always dropping those Woj bombs on everybody, and he did announce at least the class, or at least the headliners for the latest Hall of Fame class, I should say. Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Greg Popovich, Tony Parker, Paul Gasol, Becky Hammond. Also going to be a lot of Spurs love.
Don't forget, Pau Gasol actually played for the Spurs as well.
Damn.
I was just about to say, I
actually
remember
forgot
him
that.
being at the Spurs briefly, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was a Spurs as well.
Has that ever happened with that many former players from a team, or even people associated with that team, or players with that city have been in one class?
I don't know if we've ever had. I don't know if there's ever been 4.
Because 3 of them are like mainstays.
3 of them are mainstays.
And Manu was last year, right?
Manu was last year
because
he retired a year before.
Damn, they should have did that. Would have been great. They put them all in one class. They upset everybody in the NBA.
Oh my goodness, everybody be hot. Everybody be hot.
But what could you say? You can't argue with them.
But the NBA be like, great. It's like, man, we only got to give out so many tickets because
that's true.
I mean, they all got the same people.
That's right.
Oh, dude, that's why they should have did it. And it'd be all Spurs at that ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that'd be. Where's the Naismith Pro Basketball Hall of Fame?
It's in Springfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Springfield, Mass.
All right. Oh no.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't travel all the way up there.
Well, they're gonna be traveling because this is a party.
Spurs fans
and
are
I mean,
proud, man.
and it's
Should be.
Pop too. Like
That's true.
that's the thing is because it goes Tim, and then like Pop is up there.
Yeah.
Because he's part of all of those, and he's part of the mastermind to put all these teams together.
Yep.
And he's, when we can talk about Tim Duncan is a top 10 all-time player, Greg Popovich is a top 5 all-time basketball coach.
I think he might be Mount Rushmore.
Oh, I think he is too.
Yeah, but top 5 makes it safe.
I'm saying this in a non-debatable way.
Yes,
He's a top 5
I
all-time
got
basketball
you.
coach.
You didn't want to have the debate on the Spec Sex Line. It's like, the show's almost over.
No,
Time
come
out.
on, man. Quit
Just
talking
saying.
about the Spurs. What about Rick Carlisle?
Rudy Tomjanovich.
Exactly.
Rudy T.
That's right.
But no, I think it's great for the Spurs, man. It really is. And I'm glad, Pop's going in. I don't know how. I guess because you said Pop didn't allow them to put him in because.
Yeah, basically, if you're an active coach, I believe you can basically say, hey, don't put my name up for consideration.
Yeah, and Pops hates that kind of stuff too. He hates
does.
He
the
does.
honors
And
and
of course, his response to why he never let anybody do it before was, I didn't feel I earned it. And you were like,
you mean the career leader in coaching wins?
Yeah.
all-time leader in coaching wins?
Yeah.
5-time NBA champion.
5-time champion. He feels like he didn't earn it.
And I'm not leaving David out, but
No.
David is not a top 10 all-time, and Pop is not, and he's not a top 5 all-time. That's why I say Tim and David are Tim and Pop are above
Yes.
all else.
Yes.
Like,
'Cause they're
top,
elite.
top.
The
Yes.
Admiral.
And
did his thing.
I love David Robinson. That was my favorite player growing up, but he's one of the best centers of all time. but he's like a top 10 center of all time.
Tim Duncan's a top 10 player, but
Yes.
at all time. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm with you on that
The
too.
big
It's
fundamental.
It's a different cover, and that's different than the sentimental attachment that Spurs fans have. Because I think the sentimental rankings for Spurs fans, I think Manu might be higher than Pop.
He might be.
Because it's sentimental, not
and David in the sentimental is super high up there as well because the Spurs don't exist still if not for David Robinson.
Great point. Great point. Before the dynastic run.
And I mean he's still at games, he's still around. So like he's up there sentimental definitely.
Yeah, so it's like sentimental rankings are different for Spurs fans. I think they love them some Manu, man.
And
Manu.
the Iceman.
They love the Iceman.
And there is some Spurs fans who are not huge fans of Pop saying what he says off the court.
You know what I'll say about
That's
that
very
though?
true.
Pop's he's been like that for 15,
Very
20
consistent.
years.
Yeah.
He's before our era of identity politics and everybody, trying to be very sanctimonious and everybody called it cancel culture and all this kind of stuff. Pop was talking about stuff like this when nobody cared or even wanted to hear it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember this stuff, and I mean, why is Pop talking about this in a post game on a Tuesday night? He just randomly goes off about gun control or something like that.
Yep.
And so I would say he's been doing it forever. And for some reason, I don't know, I'm sure we can identify a reason, he doesn't get the criticism that other people get, like who are in the sports realm, who often go off on the political, socio-economic.
I think there's a
rants.
couple of things. One we can say is that he went to Air Force. So there's a little bit more that he kind of came up through a military background, and he was really into the Soviet studies during the Cold War. And there's all these rumors that he was actually going to go and be a spy or something, which is why
he could be a spy.
Which is why he would have all these players that were from over there, because he'd be like, oh no, he can communicate with them in a different way, and he knows it's all that weird stuff.
It's gonna come out later on that he was still a spy. That's why they asked him international play. He was actually over there. He was actually over there committing some type of conspiratorial deeds or some types. Yeah. No,
sending Rasho Nesterovic back over.
They say, what is the – oh, man, now I'm going to think about this. What is the game show host? Is it Chuck Barris? You know there's a game show host, and I believe his name is Chuck Barris, who claims that he worked for the CIA. He claims in a book that the whole show was a front.
Was it the Gong Show guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
He claims that his show was a front for the CIA, so he could go behind the curtain, behind the Iron Curtain, and go into other, states and through international borders, and he would use the show as a means to get through all these international protocols and bureaucratic, red tape.
Man, that's interesting.
I swear,
because I'm sitting here. It says CIA.
It
says CIA.
I think he admitted
claims.
that it was a lie, though.
And wasn't he claims it?
No, I think he admitted he was a lie later on.
Oh, well, I'm just saying
he put it in a book. He did put it in a book.
I didn't say it was true. I said he claims it.
Yes,
he's the one that claimed it. They throw it out there. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into our. We'll let you know what's on tap, and then we'll tell you about the flex coming up on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. If you missed any part of any of their shows, please go to hornfm.com. You can catch up with them on the podcast page. It's just that simple. Also on the podcast page, Patrick already got you hooked up with the Chipper Jones interview. Shout out to my man Harge, who got it done his Harge Knock Life. Opened up the contact list for a Hall of Famer. That's on the website at hornfm.com. Also the Craig Way interview with Rodney Terry. Also on the website at hornfm.com. You can go check that out as well. And also got to remind everybody out there that the Flex coming up next. You want to mix it. You got the Flex crew. Zach Lucero is going to be there. Nolan, the Seed already. He's already here as well, and I'm sure they'll have some other members of the Flex crew.
Cam is here.
Cam's already here too.
Yep.
The gang's all here, and they're going to have 2 special guests on.
That's right. One of them is going to be the head coach from Del Valley, Coach Patman, who just took the job, and now he is the head coach, and they're going to have him on. But then they're also going to have Nico Hamilton, Kim Falk, Cuddy Woo Woo will be coming on. Tony's here with him, his dad, and Nico's going to be with the guys in studio. So you get to hear my man talk about Lake Travis, talk about some of his visits, and let you know what's going on with him.
He's bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
Looking at him on the field, he doesn't look that big. Got some size on him. All right, what's on tap for you, Patrick? What's going on tonight for you, brother?
NBA, we got the Mavs trying to get back into the play-in tonight. Kevin Durant may be playing tonight, too. I mean, there's like 2 hours before the game, so who knows what could happen.
That is true. You're right.
That's
They can
right.
always change their mind.
Yeah, tonight is Durant's night coming back. I want to check it out, too. His first home game. Home game. Because what he was supposed to play is when he got hurt. He did it in warm-ups.
The old man layup line.
The
injury.
old man layup.
All right, that's on tap for you. On tap for me, actually, tonight, I am going to watch that movie, The Whale.
Oh.
Yeah, one with that Brendan Fraser wins
Gotcha.
Best Actor
I'll
for.
see what you're talking
I got
about.
it. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. I'll let you know about a Blackbuster review. How
There
it
is,
we come
Blackbuster
back,
review.
Tomorrow, same time, same channel. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. The Flex coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Peace.